welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Today is the day, indeed, because today is the final analysis for Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch. Day number 15, exactly, of analysis. 3 campaigns, Empire, Orcs, and now Chaos, and we are right at the end of the Chaos campaign. The final chapter, chapter number 4, which connects the first campaign with this final campaign that we are about to finish. I don't know if it will be some kind of alternative ending, because it's pretty much the same ending as the first campaign, or at least it's the same place where the first campaign ended. But well, today, the mystery shall be revealed. The true ending for this majestic gem. This great game. This classic of the real-time tactics genre. So, we'll finish the 4th chapter as fast as we can, and we will proceed to the final analysis. Today's stream will take 3 or 4 hours according to the analysis, so get ready. Let's not, we shouldn't be wasting time here. Let me stop the ambience. Let's not waste time. We've got a lot of things to do. But yes, today is the day. We'll finish the analysis for Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch. So, there we are, everything ready. Let me put the stream into performance. There we go. There we go. Let me put the stream on performance mode. There we go. We have the Skaven. We have the... Well, this was Thorgar. Now he's a demon prince that we can control. Pretty cool. And last time we exactly finished the previous chapter. We did chapter number 3 entirely, I believe. Yes, pretty much I did 1 chapter per stream. Alright, so if you remember correctly, this is precisely the very same world map, or the very same part of the world map in which we defeated the forces of chaos that we are now controlling. But back then, when we played the first campaign, the Empire campaign, we defeated the forces of chaos right here, City of Death, with the Empire and the Elves, I believe. Yes, both factions. But now we control said Demon Prince. It's kind of like our journey has come full circle, because now we are at the very same spot, but controlling the opposite army. So let's see what Destiny has in store for us. We begin with this Skaven. Pretty interesting race. So, Hammer of Justice. Before reaching Talabheim itself, that's the City of Death, Talabheim, there is a difficult obstacle to overcome. Built by the best Imperial and Dwarven engineers, the mighty cannon Hammer of Justice looks out over the northern approaches to the city. Alright. I wonder if we'll ever be able to, if I will ever be able to use the full power of my 4 cannons, but no. Okay, I should have replenished my troops. Okay, let's replenish our troops. There we go. Can I recruit? No, I can. I'm not able to recruit new units. Just replenish the ones I have. But that's more than enough. There we go. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's go. The Gracier, and last time I brought something interesting, which is this Warlord. I brought this guy. To most of my battles, so he'll be pretty useful. Let's see, of course, the cannon. We'll use our best cannon. Of course, accuracy upgrade, armor upgrade, level 3. Pretty lethal. The Warplock Jezals. I could only purchase 1 unit of those. Those snipers, they are pretty good. And I will just use the Wind Globadiers. Okay. I should bring the Warp Fire Thrower with me. Instead of these two, maybe. Yeah, but these ones are level 3. They are pretty good. And I assume they will protect my melee units. Remember, these Skaven, they basically don't have melee units. They do have some, but they are just used as cannon fodder, because the idea here is to use the Skaven have the best ranged units in the game. Yes, better than the elves. Even better than the elves. So, yes. Although highly destructive, most war machines can be unreliable and they all take time to reload. Well, if only I could use my 4 cannons, but they are not allowing me to do so. Alright. Let's see. First, the Warlord.
Is plain to see.
Right here, because
need my great skills.
Cascade, the Gracier,
The Horned Rat.
and Cascade. You'll go here or here? Here.
Follow me, worthless minions.
Remember to always attach a hero unit to the only 2 or 1 melee unit you are using as if you are playing Skaven, because their morale drops insanely fast, and well,
We will fulfill the great plan. Big cannon, kill us all. Must find way there. Destroy it. As the great warlord wishes it.
alright, I need to be careful, because as you'll see, we won't use melee units unless we have to flank. What on earth is that thing? I've never seen that. Hammer of Justice. Damn, it's a special unit. It seems better than our cannon. Hey, that's not fair. That unit is kind of like... Damn. Okay.
Spread out, great fighters.
Let's spread out and...
My minions will lay down lives for my
let's
greatness.
send
Run. Poison wind ready.
these guys.
Brings me more warpstone.
I think I'll have to run soon enough.
Rivals have been seen. Bleed in hell! The rats are on us! Leader. Death has found you. Yes!
There we go. Anyways, we are in range here.
No foes can stop Clan Skariah. Prepare a cannon!
Oh.
Spread out, great fighters.
Alright. Spread out and run to that wall right now.
Prepare the charge! Fire!
Damn, that thing looks pretty threatening. It's no fair, it's...
Cannon firing! Hide! Find cover!
What the...
Rivals have been seen. Swab out and reload!
Damn.
Concentrate! Protect me! Much warpstone will be mine!
Stay here.
Slow.
Anyways, I think we are safe from that stupid cannon.
me slaves!
You advance over
Seeking
here.
new position.
I'm not using my abilities. Why?
The Lords of Decay have sent me.
Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Revive.
The Empire is mine to command.
Attack those. Damn. No.
Destroy.
What? The wall.
Become strongest of all. Cannon firing. Hide, hide. Find cover.
Ah, yeah, we are in cover. We are good.
Rat shall rule over everything. We will fulfill the great plan.
Swap out and reload!
Who
Damn.
shall we shoot, Great One? Need new position. We need to see.
All right, run over there.
Great
I'll leave my
invention of
cannon
Warlock engineers is ready. Death has found you.
Because I think I had an ability here on the attacker immune to non-melee attacks. There we go.
I will win.
30 out of 30.
Lords of Decay will reward with March Warpstone.
30 out of 40. We are good to go. No. No.
Fire offers its services.
Stay over there.
Cannon firing. Hide, hide. Find cover.
What? It kills some of them. Even though we were in cover.
Swap out and reload!
Yes, safe. Most ingenious.
Grab that and get over there. Come on, now's our chance.
Ingenious. Kill them dead.
What the? They are shooting through the wall?
Much warpstone brings much power.
Alright, but we are doing good.
Charge is at maximum. Much
We are doing good.
warpstone brings much power. Minions have won. My magnificent triumph is beyond doubt.
Prepare the charge! Fire!
Destroy.
Damn.
Does that take us closer?
Damn. Damn. No.
Hide. Find cover. No armor stops us. Pull trigger.
Swap out and reload!
Yes.
Go over there. Before that thing.
No armor stops us. But he's safe here. Yes,
Damn. A
safe.
single shot from that thing killed.
My greatness is plain.
How many? Here. 13 out of 40. A single shot from that beast. But we are close. Damn. Don't think you can get that unit. It's kind of like exclusive to the campaign.
Strongest of all.
No, you stay over here.
Rule the surface. My power is unstoppable.
Prepare the charge! Fire!
Spread out, just in case. Uh-huh.
Cannon firing. Hide, hide.
Alright.
Find cover.
Alright, so you have to stay a bit behind the wall. Not kind of like...
One shot. One
Swap out and reload!
Like a bit behind. I was literally sticking my troops to the wall.
Firing when ordered.
I think I should move my cannon. Right here. Anyways, they are bombarding this zone.
We shall make slaves of all our enemies.
Prepare the charge! Fire!
Let's see.
Cannon firing. Hide. Find
Perfect.
cover.
Perfect.
My greatness is
Alright, they
plain
could
to
only
see.
reach us once, but they dealt a lot of damage, so let's see.
Swap out and reload!
Okay. Good.
The Council of 13 are my masters. Firing when ordered.
I'll leave the warplug Jesals right there, alongside my cannon.
Move it, scum of slaves!
Prepare the charge! Fire!
Yeah, as I said, don't think you can.
Firing! Hide, hide! Find cover!
All right. What about this, guys? All right. Anyways, it's at 0. Okay.
Swab out and reload!
We will be unstoppable.
You heard the man. He's reloading.
Wants us together.
Get out of there.
Is everywhere. Great invention of warlock engineers.
Hey, there's another wall there.
Move it, scum of slaves.
Move over there.
Clan Scaraya answers your call.
Well, I think we are.
Rivals have been seen.
Can we attack that thing?
Painful deaths.
Can we attack that thing?
Scaraya offers its services.
Can we destroy it?
Clan
Or what?
Scaraya answers your call.
Prepare the charge!
Damn.
Fire!
No.
Spread out, great
No.
fighters.
No. 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 No.
Hide, find cover. Concentrate. Fear the power of Clan Scaraya. Rivals
Swab out and reload!
acquiring
Damn
new
it.
targets.
Move over there immediately. All of you.
Die, foolish prey things. The Lords of Decay will reward with March warps.
Inside.
Titan warp coils.
Inside, all of you.
The horn rat. Now you are mine. As the great warlord wishes it. Brings me more warp stones. Titan warp coils.
Prepare the charge!
Damn.
Fire!
Damn. I think we are in cover.
Cannon firing. Hide, hide. Find
What?
cover.
You have to be kidding me. I was behind the wall.
Kill.
Enough. Over there. This is
Swab out and reload!
so stupid.
Be safe back here.
Oh, damn it. I don't think that cannon will be able to target me once I reach this zone, right?
Rivals have been seen.
And here I thought I had the best cannons.
Energy levels critical. Most splendid, Commander.
Prepare the charge! Fire!
What? Ha! It didn't work.
Cannon firing. Hide. Find cover. Destroy them now.
Ha! It didn't work. Take that.
Ordred, protect me.
Swab out and reload!
Together we will be unstoppable.
It didn't work. You are finished. Without your stupid cannon, there's no way you can beat my...
Great invention of warlock engineers is ready. I follow the warp stone.
my own artillery.
When ordered, minions have won one. Victory will be mine. Warp lightning charging, great master. Rivals have been seen. Run.
Prepare the charge!
No.
Fire!
The battle. Which enemy do you wish to
Stay out of the
Cannon fire.
range.
Hide. Find cover. Kill in the name of Together we will be unstoppable. Be safe back here. Get ready, slaves.
Swab out
Aim
and
for those.
reload!
I win glorious victory.
Slow them down. There we go.
We will fulfill the great plan.
Are you brave enough to
I
face
win
me?
glorious victory today. Our reach is far. Which
Aim for those
which destroy.
handgunners. I just hope they don't kill.
Unstoppable. The The council has spoken.
Revive them.
The Lords of Decay have sent me.
Now destroy that cannon.
Charge is at maximum. Our bullets are deadly.
There we go. Well, we didn't lose
Shoot them now.
a single unit.
Charge is at maximum. Minions are
Look at that.
special mission. Stone is no match for war.
If only one could hire this unit when playing Empire.
I win glorious victory.
But no. I hate it when you have those special units during campaigns for RTS or RTT games, but then you cannot use them normally during a skirmish or something. It happened to me with the Spahis in Age of Empires 3. Can you remember the cavalry? It was so good. It had that kind of like area of effect damage, 7500 gold. It had that area of effect damage, which was so cool, but you could only have 22 exactly 22 units of Spahis when playing as Ottomans. So it was such a bummer, such a waste. Why let me use such an interesting unit if then I cannot produce it? Well, in a certain way it adds to how special that unit is, but well. To the west lies the rendezvous with the Horde of Thorgar. The rendezvous with the Horde of Thorgar, where the forces of the letters are way too small. Where the forces of Chaos will assemble for the final assault on Talabane. The plains of Moor can be found to the south. This massive graveyard is the resting place to many of those who fought at the Battle of the Gates of Kislev, who were brought back to the Empire to be tended to by the priests of Moor, the god of the dead. Those priests have now fled from the advancing armies of Northernmen, and there may be something of worth to be found in the abandoned tombs. Of course, we are doing all of the optional missions, that's why I'm going so fast. So, Grave Robbers. Let's go. Sorry, it's the letters, they are way too small. The text. Way too small. I don't know if it's due to my monitor's resolution and the kind of like the aspect relation with the original resolution for the game. Grave Robbers, optional. Casket believes that somewhere amongst the many graves and tombs, he'll find the fabled Lightning Orb, an ancient device stolen from the Skaven by Emperor Mandred. Alright. Only one cannon again. No fair. Alright, we already have our army composition. I never used the Rat Ogres, but well, whatever. In the end, I never used the Rat Ogres, but well. I think I've found the perfect balance between ranged units and melee units for the Skaven army. It is the priests of Moor who tend to the graves of those who have passed into the underworld of their god. It is their sworn duty to prevent the dead from rising back, to plague the living. Okay. Casket.
No foes can stop Clan Scaraya. The Under Empire shall rule
There we
the
go.
surface.
Just in case you are wondering, if you are playing Skaven, be sure to
Horned
use
praised.
the Storm Bearmen with a hero unit attached to each regiment, because otherwise they'll simply run. They don't have morale at all. So they will.
Here.
Alright, let's.
Want it now.
Alright, let's. Our cannon should take care of everything here. I mean, it's a plain field. We have a perfect line of sight. My warp lightning cannon should be able to dispatch anything. I mean, we have the best range
Better position for fighting needed.
in
Rivals have been seen.
all right.
Hornrat, save us! Dead things!
Don't worry.
Underlings require me.
They're way too they're far away from here. Come on. Come on. We're wasting time.
Titan warp coils! Destroy them now!
Ah, there. Alright, we've already killed half of them.
Unleash the warp lightning!
Oh, come on. They shouldn't even be able to get close.
Foolish foes! Rivals have been seen. I win glorious victory today.
There we go.
Slay for the Horned Rat! I follow the warp stone.
Aha, more of them.
Warp accumulators are charging.
No,
I
let's...
follow the warp
We'll
stone.
split into two
Millions of
different
one
groups.
We will fulfill the great plan.
We'll split into two
My
different groups.
clan will become strongest of all. Rivals have been seen. I serve the Horned Rat.
What are you waiting for?
Minions have together we will be unstoppable. My greatness is plain to see.
Let the ranged units deal with them. They won't even get close. Oh!
The Empire is mine to command.
Where did those come from?
Will be mine. Most clever. Need more warp stone. I serve the
Alright,
Horned
we'll
Rat.
cover.
Mysterious and clever are my movements. See my glorious advance. As you wish, we shall move. Need no position. Clan Scaraya offers its services.
I'll leave one
Much
melee
warp
unit here
stones
just
to
in
be
case they
won
try
here.
to flank our army
Great
and get to the
invention of
cannon.
Warlock engineers is
Go ahead,
ready.
slowly but
Clan
surely.
Scaraya answers your call.
And you, right here.
Position is not best one.
You
Rivals have been seen.
stop immediately. Stop right here.
Seek me there.
What
Clan
the-
Scaraya
What's
is
going on?
strongest clan.
You cannot see them.
Warp lightning charging, great master.
They have no cover.
Minions have won one. Get ready, slaves.
Quickly over there.
The Warlock engineers offer their power. I alter course of the battle. We await your command. The Lords of Decay will reward with much warpstone.
Let's see. There we
Great
go.
invention of Warlock engineers is ready. Shoot! Warp lightning charging. Great
Ah, they are way
master.
too close.
Clan Scaraya answers your call. Minions have won one! My clan will become strongest of all. Kill in the name of Horned Rat.
Aha, I knew
I
it.
win glorious victory.
See, I knew it. I perfectly predicted that that was going to happen.
Minions have won one!
See?
What do you wish, my most generous employer? Position is not best one.
There we go.
My clan will become strongest of all. Brings me more warpstone. Death to the enemies of the Horned Rat. Minions have lightning charging. Great
Advance, advance.
time to find
There we go.
better position. What do you wish, my most generous employer? New place. replacement most excellent.
They were mostly saved by that hill, because it's
The Under Empire is mine to command. The Lords of Decay have sent me.
altered my line of
Time
sight.
to find better
It definitely
position.
altered my line of sight.
Mysterious and clever are my movements. Get ready, slaves.
Alright, what do we have here? I smell a
Together we
cannon.
will be
No.
unstoppable.
To the left.
I strike when
Right
you
there.
ask, most clever leader.
Rivals have been seen.
Need more warpstone.
There we go.
Great invention of warlock engineers is ready.
Are you in range
Prepare to
here?
fire.
My clan
Can you see those?
strongest
Or
of
not?
all. Minions have won one.
I'll alter course of the battle.
Victory will be mine. I do nothing here.
I send the wind ready. We scamper now, mighty leader.
I will kill foolish enemies. Minions have won
Clan
one.
Skariah sends its greetings.
Firing when ordered.
I knew it.
My power is unstoppable. Obliterating target now.
Okay, we are being surrounded.
My clan will become strongest of all.
Well,
Better position for fighting needed.
excellent.
Horned rat shall rule over everything.
Who intrudes upon my lands? Ratmen! We slew your kind at Nagashizar, and we will slay you now.
We'll just see about that. Remember early minute to the hero and increases damage.
Big blood drinker. Kill it. Kill it now.
Death has found you.
Okay.
I win glorious victory today.
Much
Uh-huh.
warpstone will be mine.
Damn my storm bear, man. I hope they survive.
We not flee, enemy. Minions have won one.
Okay. See how fast that thing killed.
No armor stops us.
No, get out of there.
A waste of your short, precious lives.
The Lords of Decay will reward with
What? I lost a unit.
warpstone.
Blood will be mine!
Damn, I lost a unit.
Foolish foe things.
Well, whatever. Whatever. I'm not wasting any more time.
Plain to see.
I would have restarted under normal circumstances, but well.
I win glorious victory today. Run. I will win.
I would have restarted under normal circumstances, but well.
Battle plan is perfect.
But well.
Need more warpstone.
I think we have to destroy the tomb or
Supporting
something.
defense, great one.
Minions have won one.
I win
Go over there.
glorious victory today.
Ah, right, the tomb.
Clan Skariah answers your call. Firing when ordered.
I think right here we would be in range, could it be, to destroy that tomb? More or less. More or less.
One shot.
Death has
One
found
kill.
Warplock
Giselle
dissolves.
heavy, so is shield.
I forgot to destroy the tomb.
Rivals have been seen.
Much warpstone to be won here.
Minions have
Screaming
won.
ghosts! Stay away! Not listen to wicked shrieking!
Damn.
Why struggle? Your deaths are inevitable.
Clan Skariah answers your call.
Time to fight.
Loaded and ready,
There we go.
gain glorious victory today.
Rivals have been seen.
Oh no.
Minions have won.
We await your command. Much warpstone to be won here. The
Yes,
council
lovely.
has spoken. I alter course of the battle. Oh, quick, needed elsewhere.
Minions
All right.
have won.
Your tomb has already been destroyed.
No foes can stop Clan Scaraya.
Victory
In my
special
mind,
mission a
that
success.
would be most sneaky.
Crippling big troll heart. What? Well, that's it. We won, right?
Most clever.
Lightning orb. There we go.
Mission a success.
There we go. Damn, I lost a unit of storm vermin. But well, anyways. Whatever.
Your magnificent
Whatever. Under normal circumstances, I would have reloaded, but since this is the final day for the analysis, and I'm going to spend a lot of time with that, well, I won't. I won't be restarting like that. Can I at least, I don't know, recruit some new units or what? Well, that doesn't matter. The second I can use my 4 cannons outside Thorgar's camp. There we go. I think this is pretty much it for the Skaven section of the map. The horde of Thorgar grows larger with every day. With the arrival of Caskid and his minions, the attack will be able to begin soon. Meanwhile, Thorgar himself fights towards Talabheim from the northwest. Let's go to the northwest. Okay. The axe throwers, the warriors are divided. There we go. I assume there will only be a single camp. Crossing the Rubik. Flowing from the middle mountains, the Rubik is a fast-flowing tributary to the Talabek. Of the Talabek, sorry. On the southern bank, the Empire has drawn up its first defense lines on the route to Talabheim. Let's go then. Alright, we have our sorcerer and our champion. Let's see if... Hey, the skill tree for Thorgar changed. Look at this. Could it be that it changed? Increases the hero nearby unit chance to hit while charging. Level. Fate's Master increases the hero nearby unit magic resist. I know it's the same. Could it be? Every successful... No, it changed. The skill tree changed, but I didn't get a refund. What? Unholy Strength. The chance to hit against large... Okay, armored. Demon Speed. These two are the same. Demon Speed. Increase movement speed. Alright. The chosen one increases the hero nearby and nearby units' chance to hit while charging. This is the same. Why so much chance to hit? Let's see. The lane increases the nearby ranged regiment's chance to hit. Okay, this one's pretty good. The dedication of what? Hey, this one's new. Available points 0. Oh well, anyways, I don't have any. They didn't refund me a single point. Pretty good. useless. Absolutely useless if you ask me. Here, this one, I don't know. And this guy? Well, you are level 29. Let's see. The hero attacks all units in front of him. Jimmy has a simple spell which can blast enemies in the crowd. Blah 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 blah. Touch regiment, chance to hit. Chance to hit while charging. Not good. Blah 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 blah. This guy has the best skill tree out of all of the chaos skill trees that I've seen. In range, he's chance to hit. Again, chance to hit. Why? Let's go for that one. All units in front of him. Alright. Area of effect damage. You can't go wrong with that. Okay. What do we have here? First of all, the axe throwers. Of course. I can bring my hell cannon with me. Yes, I can. Warriors of Corn, Warriors of Corn, blah 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 blah. Alright, then I will bring my cavalry, followed by my Warriors of Corn, or Warriors Undivided, so I can select both of them at the same time when I do double click. There we go. There we go. A river assault can cost many lives as troops are bombarded by the enemy on the slow crossing or forced to gather close together to make use of bridges and forts. Yes, indeed, never cross a river if you are being bombarded. Not only you will have no cover, but also if you are being bombarded by Skaven, your armor will be ignored, so yeah, pretty much it's absolute death. Well, but I have the Demon Prince. I wonder if I can attach this guy to some unit. No. Alright, Thorgar, since you
have blessed you with my presence.
Ever since you turned into a Demon Prince, you've become a bit of a psycho. Oh well. Yeah, if there's one thing I love about this campaign, is the sense of progression it has.
Almighty gods, bless us with your gifts that we might prevail. In mysterious
My path lies across that river. Destroy anyone that opposes me.
Alright, the orders are pretty clear.
Little piglets ripe for the slaughter.
The sense of progression this campaign has, the Chaos campaign has, is the best out of all of the campaigns this game has to offer. Because you at the end of chapter 1, you
The prey has been sighted.
You go from aspiring champion of Khorne to actually choosing your
By the gods,
your
fear this foe.
The gods
your god and
speak
everything.
through me.
We bring death. Praise the gods.
The skies offer no safety from my power.
Even mighty Hashut as Hashut wills it. Burn them all!
That thing is dead. Terrible idea. That's not how you use your flying unit. That's not how you use your flying units.
Advance and crush them.
Unless you have a great cannon with you. Alright, what are you doing here? What is it? Ah, they have a cannon.
Blood for the blood god. None can oppose mighty Khorne.
I wonder if I would have turned into something different if I had I chosen Nergal instead of corn now. Oh well. I am pretty pleased with the transformation. Another eagle. Alright, that cannon is no more.
Pain is our payment.
Can we attack them now?
Fire burn!
The gods speak through me.
Oh! Flank! They are trying to flank us.
Attack! Duel from Tsar Nagrund.
Go for that second regiment.
Little piglets ripe for the slaughter.
Well, what are you waiting for? Help
Destroy
them!
them all! Kill everything!
Fall back! We shall destroy them all! Decapitate and annihilate!
I am the herald of the northern powers.
Battle is joined!
Aha! Another cannon.
Obliterate them!
I knew it.
The prey has been sighted.
We need to destroy that cannon. Demon's blood.
I must follow the slaughter trail. Like the rising tide.
Do us all a favor and stop being targeted by that thing. By that cannon.
Hazard favors us.
There we go. Spread out. Awesome. Much better.
Your warriors are victorious.
The cannon has been destroyed.
Hazard shall enslave their souls for eternity.
What's this? They're coming for more.
Praise Khan.
What now?
My axe is needed.
Destroy them.
1,000 slaves for
Kill
our
all of
toil.
them.
I am the herald of the northern powers.
I kill with joy. Glorious battle is
Only one guy survived.
Lord, grant me your power, that I might sweep this army aside.
warriors are victorious.
Cavalry, you'll take care of those archers.
No retreat. Your knights stand ready. Your knights stand ready. I will slaughter them all. Prey has been sighted.
Aim for those handgunners. You.
The gods do not
Right there.
permit that.
Oh, well, but... Alright, let's try your abilities. Demonic Blast. I know, but it affected my units. Okay. What a shitty ability.
Kings, the gods are pleased. Your warriors are victorious.
I am the herald of the northern powers.
Beautiful bloodshed!
Yeah, nice try.
Our advance is unstoppable! The prophets have foretold the foe's doom!
A weakling foe has been vanquished.
My rage shall ruin nations!
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here, Wind of Death.
This world will be ours. Warriors are
There we
victorious.
go.
Ever onwards. The prey has
Blood
been
for
sighted.
the Blood God!
I thought my Demon Prince would have better
Hazard be
abilities.
praised!
Oh well.
Blood for the Blood God! My axe is needed.
These lands are ours. May Tzeentch gift you with a tentacle.
Tsar Nagrun's
I hope they
finest
don't
labor.
Flank my cannons. Flank my cannon. I only have one.
Moving forward, mighty
Glorious
champion.
battle is joined.
Ah, they are ranged. Cavalry.
Get those wheels turning!
Ah,
Let the demon fire burn!
Damn.
For the pride of Calador!
No. There we go.
Butchery commence. The gods are pleased. Your warriors are victorious.
They are upon us. To arms. They must be destroyed.
I shall seek out the strongest magic.
Kill them all! We will pave a road to the city with their bones!
Tsar Nagron's finest labor. We shall secure the battlefield.
We need to help those knights. Quickly. Still alive.
Decapitate and annihilate!
Come on, help them.
The gods shall hear the death cries of my foes this day!
What happened to that cannon? Ah, right, the barricade. Yeah, don't try to get through those. Don't try to get through those barricades. Damn.
We shall be as the falling axe.
For the pride of Calador!
Ride them into the ground.
Prepare your soul.
Make widows unnumbered, orphans beyond count.
Damn. That guy forced the duel.
Blood strong this day.
Summons a warrior familiar to aid him. What? Ah, there we go.
Glorious battle is joined.
I love it how they... Ah, so if you don't give any order and they are not fighting anyone else, they do this. They kind of like surround in a perfect circle the duel. Interesting. See? This game never ceases to amaze me. Ah!
From our tribe shall the mightiest champions arise this day.
Chaos will rule this frail world.
What, they are attacking my cannon.
Are ready to fight.
For the blood god!
I think we already won, or what?
I am the herald of the northern powers.
We have never faced.
Alright, time to regroup before we lose some units
Be victorious.
in some kind of stupid way. I think we've already won though. But...
Hashut be praised.
Did... Wait. Destroy the Empire and High Elf Camp or what?
Leave no stone
Yeah.
standing.
Okay, we have to destroy their camp. Their camps. Okay, let's go
The
then.
Bullfather guides our aim.
Heap the skulls of the slain!
Okay, what do we have to destroy? The camps.
Pleased. Heap the skulls of the slain!
We shall destroy them all. I am the herald of the northern powers.
Continue destroying.
I am the herald of the northern
Okay.
powers.
The prophets of Great Hashut foretell that victory will be ours today.
The gods speak.
Destroy everything. Destroy everything. Destroy everything.
Blood for the blood god!
Oh, you go.
Blood shall run as rivers!
No stone shall be left standing.
Elf tent. Elf tent. There we go.
Glorious.
I shall destroy this army with ease!
That was the objective? Yes. I saw it blink.
My conquest grows with every moment!
The tide
There we
of chaos.
Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. We didn't lose a single unit, though they were close to kill my knights, my cavalry. Oh well. They were pretty close, I must hand it to them. 10,000 gold. If only I could use it. But at this point I already have a perfect army, I mean. Even if I could bring more troops, they would have no experience. I'm not saving today, I don't know why. Oh, it's already been an hour. My god. Okay. The city of Talabheim is to the south. Around its walls, a gathering horde awaits the arrival of the Demon Prince. Scattered remnants of the Talabheim army, sorry if I butchered that name, have been seen to the east and might cause problems if allowed to remain behind Thorgar's advance. Okay, let's do the optional mission first. Must be this one. A brave stand duel. And the other one leads us here. The Horde of Thorgar. Okay. So... here? We'll go over here. A brave stand duel. If there's one thing this game gets right, it's objective variety, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because we'll get to the final analysis soon, in a matter of moments, so I'll save that for, well, a bit of clipping right there, but well. A brave stand duel. The survivors of Thorgar's invasion have been gathered under the banner of Count Furach of Talabheim, who is now leading his ragtag army to the defense of Talabheim. Alright, a duel. Yes, if there's one thing I'll admit, it's this game has insane objective variety. The hero hits the ground. See, I didn't invest a single talent here for the duel category. Oh well, for the duel skill, on the duel skill tree, I haven't invested a single talent there. Every elector count of the Empire wields a Rammerfang, a deadly magical sword forged at the birth of the Empire by the dwarf runesmith Alaric the Mad. Interesting. See how detailed the Warhammer lore, the lore in this game is.
Does such a creature still possess the bravery of a man? Or will it skulk behind its armies and allow them to bleed for its glory?
Shut up.
My axe shall carve a bloody path.
Are you brave enough to
The
face
enemy
me,
will
man?
not come to me, cowards.
Glorious battle is joined.
Increase the hero damage, special attack. I don't know what that may do, but I will use all of my potions. Yeah, the fact that I didn't invest a single talent wasn't a good idea, but well. Wasn't this guy part of the... first campaign, the one giving orders to Stefan? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It was this guy, Count Furach. Yes, because I remember during the first campaign, he said he would go to the north to fight the demon prince and everything. The curse lasts for 15 minutes with damage for every successful hit. Okay. Devastating attack. The damage is higher if the target has low HP. Only usable against heroes with 30% HP or less. Ah, come on, don't interrupt me. Oh. One hit kill. Yep, that attack is absolutely OP. Don't invest a single talent.
There is no retreat. Only attack.
Don't invest a single talent on the skill tree. On the dual skill tree of your Demon Prince. Once the enemy reaches 30% HP, he's dead with that attack. Pretty much. If you're not interrupted, that is. But well. Well, that was pretty amusing and interesting. So if you're in the middle of a duel against a Demon Prince and you drop below 30 HP, you are dead. You are basically dead. That's pretty much it. You are basically dead. Well, alright. Outside of Thorgar's camp? No, here. The Hordes of Thorgar. Yeah, basically that. We discovered the final advantage of the Chaos hero units. If the enemy's HP drops below 30 in the middle of a duel.
Little rat man. I'm impressed.
We march to fight with you, most mighty ally and best friend of Skavenblight. Many times we tried to make this city fall. Tunnels everywhere, but they find them and close them. With great warriors in your army, we attack again and not fail.
Your knowledge will be very useful to me, as will your army. These weak men cannot fight to the front and behind. The attack begins! Kill them all and destroy the city!
Indeed. At the head of an army that has not been seen in the Empire for an age, Thorgar the Blooded One casts his demonic gaze towards the last obstacle in his path, the fortified city of Talabane. Indeed. Finally, a camp. Finally. So, first, temple. We're good to go anyways. Armory, barracks. What do we have here? Nothing useful. No, I'm not bringing hell cannons when I can. Can I get... What? Alright, here. Camp. For these guys, please. There we go. What? No, here. This army cannot move right now. What? There we go. Armory. Alright, they killed... They killed my Storm Vermin unit. Anyways, I have the 4 cannons right there. Can I oh, Warplug Jesals, 2 of them. Both of them with me. Those are pretty much the best units. I love that unit, the Warplug Jesals. That's it. I'm not going to use these Globadiers anymore. Not with 3 units of Warplug Jesals. Can I get some Storm Vermin? Yes, I can. Here. Let's replenish those. Armory. There we go. Yes. Yes, you need moral regeneration. You need that. You need this. You need this because your moral sucks pretty much. Standard better. There we go. No one can behold this ghastly symbol of death without the stuff of bread. The unit causes fear. Alright. Minus 30 moral. Alright, but I have 3 units of Warplug Jesals. These guys are as good as dead. Okay. I can choose which army to use. Well, I have unlimited gold at this right now, so, well. There we go, there we go. Let's save. One last time. Here we go. I cannot move with my Skaven army, or what? No, I am meant to attack. No. I'm meant to attack with Thorgar. All right. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the finale. The villages and farms outlying Talavane have been abandoned, and many already lie in ruins. Against the horde of Thorgar, the men of the Empire have fled, seeking safety behind the high walls of Talavane. Alright, this is it. This is the final battle, the final mission for the campaign, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to experience the final battle scene from the Chaos Hordes. Seen from the perspective of the Chaos Hordes. City of Death, the disciplined soldiers of the Empire, the elegant warriors of the Elves, and the stout fighters of the Dwarves have all gathered here to thwart the ambitions of Thorgar. At last, the time has come to decide the fate of the Empire. Let's go. Oh, can I bring... Yes, finally, ladies and gentlemen, I can use the full might of my 4 cannons. So prepare to experience a power like no other. My 4 cannons will go there, and we won't be using the hell cannons because they are not good compared to these ones. We will bring my Warplug Jazals. Should I bring inexperienced units to this battle? Of course, because they are the Warplug Jazals. They are the best units you can ever get. No, Casket won't be there. The Sorcerer will be there. Casket, no. Ah, I have to bring Casket with me, apparently. Yes, I have to. Of course, my Knights. Warriors Undivided. Warriors Undivided. Warriors of Corn. So, we'll combine the powerful melee attack of my Chaos units with the best ranged units in the game, which are the Skaven. So, we should be able to deal with these guys. More other axe throwers, more other axe throwers, and more other axe throwers. I don't know if I have enough melee units. I think I should bring with me a... I'll bring the we'll do this then. We'll bring the Bloodletters, we'll bring some demons with us. I don't think there's no point in bringing Furies with us because they pretty much they must have some kind of defense against them. So Crimson Armor of Dargan causes fear, blah 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 blah. What are you doing? So this one causes fear, this one doesn't, so this one goes over there. Armor, regeneration, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think it's a bit better. Anyways, this guy doesn't charge, he just slowly walks. Thorgar no longer charges the enemy. We'll give this to this guy because, you know, 3 armor, 2 armor, but 20% melee damage resistance. That's good. Armor of Tortured Souls. Give it to this guy, maybe. Could it be? Berserk Sword. Give that to this guy. 15% chance to hit, 20% attack speed. Thorgar, what do you have? 20% chance to hit. Well, oh, damn it. Give that to Thorgar, please. Give that to Thorgar. Oh, damn it. 5% chance to hit, attack speed. 20% chance to hit, 20% HP. Chance to hit, attack speed. Blah, 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 blah. Charge bonus, forget about it. Blah, blah, blah. Skull of Katam. Good, 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 good. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Shooting damage resistant. Okay. So I have to bring Casket, right? Yeah, I have to bring Casket. Yeah, I have to bring Casket. Maybe I'm risking it a bit. A bit too much by bringing two unexperienced units with me. Okay. But the range is insane, but well. They ignore armor though when they attack. I don't know what to do. They're pretty good, but I don't know if bringing them on or the Marauder axe throwers. I don't know. Well, alright. We'll bring the axe throwers because they are 40 or 39 and they have experience and everything. With this army I should be able to crush pretty much anything. I mean, I can finally use the full power of my 4 cannons. There will come an age, the end of times, when the realm of chaos expands across the entire world and the gods of chaos will have their final victory. Indeed. We will finally get ready, ladies and gentlemen, because we will finally be able to see the full power of my 4 cannons in action done. I am so eager.
The prey has been sighted.
Okay. It's the same scenario as the beginning of the.
We await your command.
As
Giseo heavy.
all right.
So
It's the very same scenario. But I think I'll be under the constant fire of the cannons. Well, I'm not sure. Well, no. It depends on their flame of the gods. Refills your units.
The gods will be victorious.
It depends on their formation.
Brings me more warpstone.
Right, Casket. You won't. You will. You can attach to those guys.
Follow me,
Good.
worthless minions.
I never seen a rat.
Grant me your power that I might sweep this army aside.
You'll go with the warriors of
Leave
Khorne.
the fighting to me. As our lord wishes.
Blood for the blood god!
Go
The
there.
gods favor us with this bountiful carnage.
You here. Cavalry will be useful.
Ever onward.
There we go.
We shall advance, great champion.
Bring my 4 cannons over there.
Charge is at maximum. Titan warp coils.
Alright. We will pretty much be in range of everything.
Warp lightning charging, great master.
There we go.
Loaded and ready, master.
Warp of Jesals.
But he's safe here. Yes, safe. Moving now.
We are almost in
masterful
range.
Master. Clan Scarire is strongest clan.
Together we will be unstoppable. If that
Right.
is your command, warlord.
Get ready. No.
As my lord
Here.
wishes, it shall be done.
Forward together.
Damn.
We We shall be as kings!
Well, we'll have to then.
Firing when ordered.
The gods
Get
watch
ready.
you closely, my followers. Destroy the city. Slaughter all those inside, and the rewards will be greater than any imagined before.
First, let's regroup a bit.
Stop us. Smash them aside.
Our Hellblades are death to all things!
My 4 cannons will they've already killed them all. Damn, that was fast. What? Oh, they have some cannons with them.
Little piglets ripe for the slaughter!
Cavalry.
As you command, favorite master.
I must follow the slaughter trail.
Cavalry, get rid of the... Alright, so they have a cannon after all.
Get ready, slaves.
Sadly, that cannon won't survive for long.
Warriors are victorious!
Charge the warp coil.
Why is that thing still alive? Okay,
No mortal can survive our Hellblades!
okay. Then let's do this.
We will grow strong on the slaughter!
Advance.
Pleased, your warriors are victorious!
There is no retreat.
Slowly.
Only attack.
But surely.
Loaded and ready, Master.
Unleash the warp lightning.
Loaded and ready, Master.
The god of war sends us!
Yeah, Kratos.
Our Hellblades are death to all things! The prey has been sighted.
Ah, there's a countdown.
Let the bloodletting begin! The warriors are victorious!
Loaded and ready, Master.
See the
Can you get
magnificence
rid of those
plans,
hand gunners?
Glorious battle is joined!
I am dead.
Alright. Move the cannons. We'll need to storm the fortress. We'll need them to storm the fortress. Let's go. Damn, the frame rate. 20 FPS. Don't worry. It's responsive. It's just that
All. Kill everything.
there are way too models on the screen. There are way too many models on screen.
Like the rising tide, their blood will flow.
Charge it.
Just bring the cannons. We'll destroy that fortress.
The prey has been sighted.
Can you shoot from there? No. They are out of... There's a bit of...
This is where we make our stand and prove the worth of the men of the Empire. Fight to the death and fight for Sigma!
My will cannot
Alright.
be contested.
Your warriors are victorious!
Yep. The
Brings me more warpstone.
I'll need to bring my cannons up there.
The prey has been
Up there because... Oh well.
Charge
Can
the warp
you
coils.
target that one? Yes, we are in range.
Our reach is far.
The gods will be victorious.
Excellent.
Like the rising tide, their blood will flow.
Stay back now. Stay back.
We shall crush them!
Stay back. Let the cannons do the
Ready,
rest.
slaves.
What? That thing is still alive?
Yes, most cunning master.
As my lord wishes, it shall be done.
No point in losing units.
Afraid a wall is not so strong as these weaklings hoped!
Master.
Well, we also destroyed that. Alright, we have another tower there. Axe throwers to the front.
The prey
Great
has been
invention
sighted.
of warlock engineers is ready.
Aim for the second
Strike
cannon.
now.
I shall destroy this army with ease.
Okay,
Destroying your enemies, great master.
there we go. Ah, damn, my knights. They are
Like
almost
the rising
there.
tide, their
You'll
blood
stay
will
back there.
flow.
Yes, most cunning master.
Need more warp
Come on, are
stone.
you firing? Or what?
No deal.
Damn, we are out of range. They have no line of
Slaves,
sight.
Make ready.
Give the cannons
As you command,
line of
chosen
sight,
one.
please. No, what a stupid
The
idiot.
prey has been sighted.
Get out of there.
Firing
Come on.
when ordered.
Damn.
Destroy them
There
now.
we go.
Your warriors
Your
are
Torn!
victorious.
Grant me your power that I might sweep this army aside!
Come on, kill
God
them.
shall bless this carnage.
Let's try this. And let's try this. It's immune to non-melee attacks. Take that. There you go. Hey, it's working. Where's...
The gods
Get out of there. You are ranged units. Come on.
The prey has been sighted.
feel the anger.
Have you destroyed those?
Your warriors are victorious.
Slaves, make ready. Stone is no match for warp lightning.
There we go.
Heap the skulls of the slain.
27 minutes. God damn it. We are way too good.
Show no mercy.
Okay, let's see.
The breath of the gods blows strong this day. Be victorious.
Where are the cannons? There. What are you waiting for? Destroy the walls.
The gods are pleased. Your warriors are victorious.
Aim for a
Stone
second
is
spot.
no match for warp lightning.
Stay back.
And I obey. Titan warp coils.
Anyways, we are
Need more warp stone.
excellent. They are destroying the walls in 2 blows.
Who shall we shoot, great one?
We shall be as kings. It is the will of the Dark Lords that brings us victory.
Why is it that these guys
As you command, chosen one. The
will have to
ground shall shake.
organize them individually?
Let nothing through.
Alright, because of that.
The gods shall hear the death cries of my foes this day.
The prey has been sighted.
There we go. Handgunners. Yeah. Yes, if that would save you. Ah, no, wait. Wait.
Move it, scum of slaves.
That's a Stefan, right? That's their hero
Charge
unit.
the warp coils.
Time for an epic duel.
For the blood god.
Are you
I'm
brave
going
enough
to
to
rip
face me
off their
alone?
skulls with my bare hands.
Glorious battle is joined. The slaughter them all.
Time for an epic duel. Hey, what?
None can oppose mighty God.
The rest of you, kill them all.
None shall survive.
They are inside the city.
Indeed they
Repel the
are.
filthy dogs while I summon the power to cast them out.
Destroy them now.
Now I need to take care of the duel. Alright, we have to kill Stefan now. So, in the end, it was true.
The prey has been sighted.
This is simply kind of like the opposite.
Your warriors are victorious.
Adopting new firing position, magnificent general.
Glorious battle is joined.
I'm going
Okay.
to rip off their skulls
This
with
is
my
kind of
bare
like
hands.
simply the opposite to the ending. It's kind of like the alternative ending of the first mission.
No foes can stop Clan Scaraya. Clan Scaraya answers your call. Carry great cannon, miserable slaves.
Alright, time to decapitate. You are below 30% HP. Sorry, unless you interrupt me, you are as good as dead. There we go, dead. Indeed
have
dead.
granted you their favor.
Indeed dead.
Destroy it all in the
One more
names of the
blast,
great
please.
gods.
There we go.
Destroying your enemies, great master.
Alright, I need to take that.
Burn it to the ground.
Are you still killing
I kill
something?
with joy.
Alright.
Blood for the
What are you
blood
doing,
god.
imbecile?
Glorious battle is joined. We shall be as kings. As you wish, favored one. Send them to their graves.
Inside, inside.
There is no retreat, only attack!
There we go.
Granted you their favor.
I am the herald of the northern powers.
The tide of chaos stretches even
Absolute
further.
distraction. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen, and with 34, almost 35 extra minutes. Well, I guess my army was perfect in the end. Well, so we killed Stefan. Okay. So this was kind of like the alternative ending. Defeated and terrified, the defenders of Salavane stand against Thorgar no more.
Tal'Dorei
Thousands.
is no more! Next to fall shall be Nome, and I will rip out the heart of Emperor Magnus and feed it to the hounds.
What a wonderful sight, blooded one! The gods will reward us all!
Nothing can stand in my way. The Empire lies in ruins, its armies broken upon our swords. They will all become my slaves. None can oppose me.
No! That was Gorbash. Wait. What was that? It was just some kind of cliffhanger ending. Kind of, no. I guess maybe it means that Gorbash will end up fighting the Demon Prince, and in the end, Chaos simply devours itself, because kind of like Gorbash will attack the Thorgar now, and orcs and Chaos hordes will kill each other, and that's the kind of like the infinite and unending cycle of chaos. Alright, but this is it. As you can see, we played all of the chapters, all of the campaigns, hard difficulty. That was pretty well done. Pretty well executed. So, no extra campaign. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I wonder if there's maybe a chapter 4 here, but no, it cannot be. The Reckoning was pretty much the ending for this. Unless you choose Dark Elves, I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Well. Excellent. Excellent, ladies and gentlemen. We've finally finished Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch. So get ready, because now comes the final analysis, in which we will encompass more than a month because of my delays. We will encompass more than a month of analysis, observation, and deduction. So let's get ready for the analysis. It was a pretty interesting game, if you ask me, and not only because of all of the gameplay mechanics, but also because of the fact that the studio behind this game is Black Hole Entertainment, a Hungarian studio, also responsible for Armies of Exego, and it was pretty interesting seeing how seeing how a development studio who crafted such an interesting RTS as Armies of Exigo could translate their talent to the RTT genre, to a totally different genre, if you know what I mean. Alright. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's my favorite part of my streams, and certainly I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely my favorite part. My signature, my absolute pride, which is this in-depth analysis after finishing a game. Here we will use all of our knowledge, all of the things we've seen in this game, ranging from the gameplay mechanics to the graphical presentation and everything, every single detail that you are about to see. I know about them. I know all of them, all of those details, because I played the game in depth with every single mission, with every single optional mission finished on hard difficulty. I finished the 3 campaigns, so know that I take the time to finish the whole game before proceeding to do my final analysis for it. For all of them. Every single time. Alright. So, let us begin. First category. The gameplay category. First of all, this game, as I said, was developed by Black Hole Entertainment, the same developers as Armies of Exigo, a Hungarian studio, pretty talented. And so, after releasing Armies of Exigo on 2004, they went on to develop Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch. The game is available on both PC and also the Xbox 360. The 360 version includes this expansion, because Mark of Chaos is kind of like the original game, and Battlemarch is the expansion. I don't know if it's the Chaos campaign only, or the Orcs campaign and also the Chaos campaign, but well, you get the point. The complete game is Mark of Chaos and Battlemarch. Pretty much you could see that the ending is the Chaos campaign, so it's Battlemarch. A pretty talented studio, so as I always say, my congratulations, and we will, at least I and everyone in my channel, will always remember the effort and the insane amount of talent and time you dedicated, the time that Black Hole Entertainment dedicated to creating these 2 masterpieces, both Armies of Exigo from the RTS genre, and in this case Warhammer Mark of Chaos, the RTT genre. As I said at the beginning of this series, this is the first real-time tactics game I analyze on stream. Of course, I've analyzed a lot of real-time tactics games on my own. Just to name a few, especially it's the Total War series. If I had to mention one, the Total War series being my favorite, Napoleon and Empire, because of the ranged combat with the bayonets and everything, but that's another story. The Ultimate General, American Civil War is another example. King Arthur, the fantasy role-playing game, not the one they released recently, but back in 2012, I think, Neocore Games, before proceeding to doing the classic RPG that they released this year. Back in 2012, they released a real-time tactics game called King Arthur, the role-playing game as well, which is basically Total War. Pretty similar to Warhammer Total War because it has some fantasy units and everything. Well, alright. So, just so you know the difference, Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch belongs to the real-time tactics genre, which is different from the real-time strategy genre. At the beginning of the series you have a detailed explanation, but basically the 2 main points are that in real-time tactics there's no base building. Think about a Total War game. There's no base building, and positioning on the battlefield usually determines victory. Contrary to real-time strategy games, because in real-time strategy games such as StarCraft or Age of Empires, positioning on the battlefield does not determine victory. Usually the amount of units, your APM, and your production, your economy, determines victory, because you usually zerg the enemy, you usually overwhelm the enemy with a lot of produced units, and because of the fact that you produced units faster than the enemy and the fact that you lost less units while managing your base building, you were able to overwhelm. Alright, so that's real-time strategy. In real-time tactics games such as Total War, positioning on the battlefield determines victory. Think about taking cover, for example, in Warhammer Mark of Chaos. If you would walk with your units and you are in the middle, if you're in the middle of a river and you get attacked by artillery, you're pretty much dead because you have no cover. The concept of cover exists in these games. For example, Total War, The Ultimate General, American Civil War, King Arthur role-playing game, and there are others. I think there's one which is 1914 or something like that, Real War. I cannot remember its name. Alright, so basically those points. No base building, positioning on the battlefield determines victory. Those are the main two key points which set the difference between real-time strategy and real-time tactics games, right? So, similar to Total War, just so you have a brief summary. Let's begin with the first category. Gameplay. When compared to Total War, when compared to Ultimate General, American Civil War, or King Arthur, which are the main real-time tactics games that I've experienced and the most polished ones in recent years, I would say that this game has its own signature. That's incredibly important. This game has a lot of unique gameplay mechanics. For example, we'll begin with the ranged units. Why? Because if you, at the beginning of the first campaign, when I learned about how to use the handgunners, I realized that even if you position your handgunners behind your melee units, they wouldn't deal damage to them. They would only deal damage to the enemy. That's a huge difference between Empire and Napoleon Total War with this game. Handgunners are highly effective, and ranged units in general. However, we must take into account the insane amount of race or civilization variety that this game has, because it successfully impacts this previous mechanic that I've said. How overpowered the ranged units are. Why? Because according to the faction you are fighting with, that you are using, the range of your ranged units will vary greatly. And I truly mean greatly. It will be totally different using elves than, let's say, the Moroder axe throwers. It works like this. The Skaven are the best range. They have the best ranged units. Their range is absolutely insane. Then we have the elves, both the normal elves and the dark elves. They have outstanding range for their ranged units. Their ranged units have pretty good range, but not as good as the Skaven. Then we have the Empire and the Chaos Hordes. They pretty much have the same range. I think the handgunners are a bit better. Yes, I think the handgunners are a bit better. So the Empire is kind of like the exact middle term. And then we have the Chaos Hordes, and then the Orcs, who have their archers, the Error Boys, have no range, basically. So it's absolutely amazing how Black Hole Entertainment designed the ranged yeah, how they managed to prevent ranged units from becoming absolutely OP, how they balanced their power. Why? Because, for example, remember I told you the Skaven have the best ranged units. I mean, their range is insane. It's almost infinite when compared to the others, especially the Warplock Jesals and their cannons, as you could see right now. But their melee unit, they literally have no melee units. They basically have no melee units. So that impressive, outstanding, and perfect blend that Black Hole Entertainment achieved for this game is absolutely impressive, because they perfectly made each race unique, but they gave weaknesses to all of them. For example, the Skaven, if they are attacked by cavalry, they are pretty much dead. They're pretty much dead. That's the thing. If your cannons, if their cannons couldn't kill that cavalry unit which is about to charge them, they are pretty much dead. So they've created a perfect balance between the races in terms of ranged units and also melee units, because then the melee units, the orcs, remember I told you that they had the worst ranged units. Well, they have the best melee units. They have the best melee units. The orcs have the best melee units alongside the chaos hordes. Remember I told you. So it's perfect. It's an absolutely perfect blend, because they created a system. They created a system in which the race selection interacts with the ranged and melee units in a pretty interesting way, because the better your ranged unit is, the worse your melee unit will be for that race. Skaven, worst melee unit, best ranged unit. Orcs, best melee units, worst ranged units. It's like inversely proportional. It's a perfect relation between ranged and melee units. So here we have the Skaven. Imagine, here we have the Skaven, best ranged units, worst melee units. Here we have the orcs, best melee units, worst ranged units. And in the middle, the elves, second to best ranged units, good, let's say, not great, but good melee units. The Empire is the perfect middle. Then the Chaos Horde has good, great, let's say, melee units, and not that good ranged units, because I think the Empire's handgunners have much better range. Not much better, a bit better, a bit better. The elves have much better, and then the Skaven, they could kill them from afar. However, if the Chaos units get to the Skaven, they're pretty much dead. So, you get the point. A perfect proportion. A perfect proportion between how OP ranged units could be when compared to melee units. So, in that sense, that's what I most admire about this game. How they perfectly said, well, this race will have the best melee units, the worst ranged units, and this one will be the completely opposite pole. Right? So, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Pretty well organized. I mean, the game design was extremely well organized, because you could clearly spot how they thought they should balance the races. You could see how what were the developers thinking, and that they executed it perfectly, absolutely perfectly. you can see a perfect relation of power between the melee and the ranged units throughout the whole game. It's absolutely impressive. So yes, inversely proportional, a perfectly inversely proportional relation between ranged and melee units. Okay, so that's the main feature for the gameplay. As for the rest, we have a lot of unit variety, as I've said, race variety. You have the duel mechanic, there's a lot of objective variety, we have a lot of things to cover. Let's begin with the hero units and all of their implications. The hero units have a unique mechanic that I haven't seen, I don't think, in any other game, which is the duel mechanic that you just saw. The duel mechanic involves two hero units from opposite factions fighting each other without any other external factor. The armies simply are expelled from the fight, and the hero units fight one-on-one, a duel. In that duel, you use different abilities that you can get, that you can improve. You get the abilities as you level up your hero unit, but you can improve them if you invest talents on the middle skill tree of that hero unit, which is exclusive to the duel. You use different to the duel mechanic. You use different you use different talents for duels than for when compared to the normal gameplay, if you know what I mean. You have the right and left skill trees, and if you invest talents on those, they generally have perks which provide a bonus to the whole attached regiment, right? Because you can attach hero units to a regiment, and that regiment will get the bonuses from the skill tree, from the command skill tree, which are going to affect the whole regiment, right? For example, 0.2 extra bonus armor for all of the units inside of that regiment, or 5% more morale. Okay. The duel mechanic. Going back to the duel mechanic. You use unique abilities. That you can exclusively get by investing talent points on said skill tree, the middle skill tree. And you can interrupt, cast, use potions. The game has a lot of item variety. You can increase your power pool. A lot of factors come into account when entering a duel in this game. Some abilities even allow your hero to replenish all of his health before entering a duel, which is a huge advantage. So I love how they implemented the duel mechanic. I think it adds a lot of variety because you can flee from a duel, but that will impose a huge morale penalty to the rest of your army. You are pretty much screwed, because if you flee from a duel, if your hero unit flees from a duel, that morale penalty will affect your army more than you imagine. Why? Because morale in this game is another interesting resource. Morale affects how good your army will fight, how efficient it will be at fighting the enemy. It will not only measure if your army is about to flee from the battlefield and not follow your orders, but it will also affect how efficient it will be at fighting the enemy. If your army is at 20% morale, it will it will get killed, which is worse than fleeing. For example, the Skaven have the lowest morale pretty much on the whole game, or in the whole game, because they simply flee as soon as they engage in melee combat. That's why the storm vermin are extremely important, and the fact that you must attach your hero units to them and use the war banners to provide them extra morale, because on their own they don't have their morale drops insanely fast. The rest of the races, they are pretty much okay with morale. It's not a huge issue. So yes, I would say that the way they combine the duel mechanic with the fact that when your hero unit gets killed or flees from said duel, how they combine the fact that if that happens, if your hero unit dies or flees from the duel, it will impose a huge morale penalty to your army. I think they combined that perfectly. Why? Because all of that makes the duel mechanic important. Otherwise, it would just be killing the enemy's hero unit. No, it's extremely well executed. The fact that if you kill the enemy general in a duel, it will be pretty significant for the outcome of the battle. It will affect it greatly. That's something most RTT games don't implement properly. Total War is an exception. If you kill a general in a Total War game, across the years, the impact has increased exponentially. Though in some games, I would say it wasn't as important. Mostly the original ones. But then from Empire, Shogun, and onwards, killing an enemy general became a more prominent feature. But well, this game got it right back in 2008, so great. Next area that we have to cover. So, the skill trees, you get experience with your hero unit as you fight with it, and that experience, you use that experience to get skill points. You can use them to increase the duel skill tree, to be more effective at a duel, or simply invest them on the command skill tree, which will affect the whole attached regiment, and you have an extra skill tree to the left which grants your hero unit individual kind of like powers. For example, I don't know, generally it's extra armor, or I don't know, extra attack speed, those things. Pretty cool. Alright, more or less you won't go beyond level 25. Here we went all the way up to level 29, but generally it's level 25. Alright, insane, and this game has an insane amount of hero units. Well, not of hero units. The amount of hero units is standard, but the insane amount of different skill trees is impressive, if you know what I mean. Every single skill tree for every single hero unit in this game is different, and that is absolutely amazing. Each skill tree is different. There is a bit of recycling. There's a bit of recycling, yes, but every single skill tree at the end of the day is absolutely different, or at least for the most part different, because there is a bit of recycling, but they are different enough between each other as to give a lot of gameplay variety to the duel mechanic. So the skill tree and the duel mechanic, they interact perfectly. Because every single hero unit has a different skill tree, even though there's a bit of recycling. Ranging from increased chance to hit, which is a pretty important stat in this game, because this game follows a pretty similar system, and this leads me to my next point. A pretty similar system to classic RPG games. For example, Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, the classic Infinity Engine games. Chance to hit, it's a pretty important stat in this game, because it will determine if your army actually deals damage to the enemy or if it misses. This stat is also applied to duels. So in the middle of a duel, your hero unit can miss its attacks. The same for the battlefield with all of your army. They miss, even though you don't see it, but they miss a lot of their attacks. So I find it extremely original that they've added the chance to hit stat to a real-time tactics game, which is generally ruled by the laws of real-time strategy games, if you know what I mean. Attacks always land. Think about StarCraft or Warcraft. I think it had chance to hit to some extent. No. I think it had armor. No, forget about it. No, generally real-time strategy games don't have chance to hit. This is a real-time tactics game, and it's absolutely original that they've included the chance to hit stat. As for the rest, the game has armor, attack speed, etc. A lot of other, for example, the morale, as I've said, the health, the stamina. Of course, your units can run and they will get tired if they run a lot. In that regard, it's pretty similar to Total War. But the important thing, the game has a lot of unit variety. It has a lot of skill tree variety. It has a lot of interesting gameplay mechanics. I highly suggest you try this game. And regarding the gameplay, it also has some air units, for example the Furies or the Eagle you just saw, but they're mostly, unless you are fighting an enemy who has no ranged units, which is highly improbable, you won't be able to use them efficiently. Alright, but I have a lot of things to say about the level design. But regarding the gameplay, as I've said, a perfect inverse proportional relation between ranged units and melee units and the races. The better your ranged units are for that race, the worse your melee units will be. And the same for the opposite case. If you have the best melee units, say if you are using the orcs, for example, you will have the best melee units, and if you are using you'll have the worst ranged units. And then we have a lot of races in the middle. Race variety also adds a lot to the gameplay the game has, to the gameplay system the game has to offer, and well, I think it also has artillery. The artillery plays a big role. It deals a lot of damage. You can use a spread formation or tight formation, which adds a lot of strategic depth, because if you use a spread formation and you are being bombarded by the enemy's artillery, you will suffer less losses. You have cavalry, of course, to flank the infantry. Then it follows at the core, at the heart of the gameplay, it's the classic rock, paper, scissors system. We should always mention that. Cavalry is effective against archers. Archers are effective against infantry, and well, cavalry if they don't attack them. And in the case of infantry, there's one thing I would like to highlight, and it's the fact that in this game, it's difficult to explain, but the size of the unit is measured. For example, line infantry, it's kind of like small unit. Then we have medium-sized units, and then we have large units. Spearmen are effective against large units. Just so you have an idea, that's the important thing. And basically, swordsmen are effective against spearmen, and spearmen are effective against cavalry and large units. Pretty much that's the idea. Which are these units? For example, small units are the base infantry. You just saw the Chaos Warriors, the Empire's Warriors, the Elven Spearmen. I think the Dark Elves don't have melee infantry with swords. They just have spearmen, so that's a huge disadvantage they have because I think normal elves have the sword masters of Hoeth. But well, then the dark elves have the witches, if you remember the witches, and some assassins. There are some invisible units, so regarding unit variety the game is perfect. Regarding race variety the game is perfect. Pretty complete product. So as I was saying, large units are the demons, the ogres, in the case of the orcs and the ratmen, then the huge demons, the ranged demons, the demon prince unit, I believe. Then we have medium units, which are cavalry. Basically cavalry it's a medium unit, so spearmen are effective against them as well. And then small units, which are simply archers, spearmen, swordsmen, basically those. The flamethrower in the case of the Skaven, the warplock Josals, the snipers, those are the snipers, everything. Well, there you have it. So another thing to highlight is that they managed to give the spearmen a pretty important role, because if you attack a huge unit with swordsmen, you will suffer heavy losses. You need to bring spearmen. So I love how they gave spearmen an extra added value, tactical value, because generally in real-time strategy and real-time tactics games we usually go for swordsmen and that's pretty much it. We just bring one unit of spearmen and that's pretty much it. So in this game, if you are facing not only a lot of cavalry but also a lot of huge units, cavalry, remember, it's medium, they will play an important role. Or you bring a lot of ranged units, which is what you can also do. But well, your melee units will be killed, so, and then they will get to your ranged units and you get the point. It's pretty risky. Well, as for the rest, artillery, I think there's also a difference in range regarding artillery. I think the Skaven's artillery has even better range than the others. I am pretty sure of it. When comparing them, and well, as a conclusion for the gameplay category of the analysis, they perfectly blended a lot of different mechanics. It's difficult to make the analysis for this game because it has a lot of different mechanics. extremely well executed. I was really, really impressed by that, by how the different races influenced the gameplay. And when in a real-time tactics game, when the different races influence the gameplay like this, is something extremely unique. For example, in Total War games, races, or civilizations in that case, they are different, but they are not as different as in this game, not by a long shot. This game is pretty unique in that aspect. Every race is unique. I would say that's the strongest point. That's definitely the strongest point regarding the gameplay category. The race will absolutely influence the gameplay 100%, and it will make it totally different when compared to other races. If you are playing Skaven, your playstyle will be completely different than if you are playing Empire or Elves or Orcs. The same for the others. You need to learn to specifically learn how to play with that specific race, and that's unique, absolutely unique. This could also count as part of the innovation category for the analysis, but it's part of the gameplay. The race influences, this is the conclusion, the race influences the gameplay to such a degree that it makes said gameplay unique, and that is amazing. They had a great idea and they executed it, I think, better than anyone else I've seen so far. In a real-time, regarding the real-time tactics genre. Because in Total War games, even in Total War Warhammer 1, 2, and 3, while the races are different, here the gameplay completely changes. It's in Warhammer Mark of Chaos, the gameplay is completely different. If you're playing Skaven, you won't engage in melee at all. You are not meant to engage in melee. In Total War games, well, you could have some units which have more range than others, or those things, but a race in which you are never meant to engage in melee, that's something absolutely unique. Or the Orcs, a race which has pretty much no melee units, that's something completely unique. That's something completely unique, and I think it's the most important part of the gameplay, and the reason you should play this game, definitely. You should definitely play this game only because of that. Because of how different the play styles are for each race, and how they perfectly blend with each other. As I've said, a perfectly inversely proportional relation. An inversely proportional relation. It's difficult to explain, but yes, it's basically that the race with the best ranged units has the worst melee units, and the same for the opposite. The race with the best melee units has the worst ranged units, and all of the races in the middle, they all perfectly blend with each other. It gradually the gameplay system gradually manipulates those two poles, melee units and ranged units, in such a way that they do this. They increase and decrease in a perfectly proportional way. Exactly. They perfectly increase and decrease in a perfectly proportional way. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Alright, as for the gameplay, I've covered everything. The unique duel mechanic, the unique system in which the civilizations influence to such a degree the gameplay mechanics that it's amazing as well, with this proportional relation between ranged and melee units. Those were the main points I wanted to remember. Sorry, the thing is that I've been playing the game for a month, so there's a lot of details, but those are the main 2 points. Now, as for the rest, as I've said, ranged units, they won't kill your melee units if they are firing from behind them, contrary to Empire and Napoleon Total War. And well, they have abilities. Units have abilities. For example, the handgunner, the Empire's handgunners, they have the reload ability or something like that. It's not called like that, but well. The Bollifier ability. They have the Bollifier ability, which makes them reload and fire faster. Pretty impressive, because that ability compensates for the lack of ranged damage when compared to the Elves and the Skaven. So as you can see, the system is perfectly blended, because the Orcs and the Chaos units and the Chaos factions, those 2 factions have the best melee units, but their ranged units, yes, the axe throwers are close. They don't have the range as good as the Empire handgunners, and they don't have the ability. For example, the Empire's handgunners, they don't have the range of the Skaven or Elven units or Elf units, and they don't have the powerful melee units of the Orcs or the Chaos hordes, but they have the Bollifier ability and many others. For example, they have the best armor, they have the best resistance, they are sturdy, for example, all of them, the Knights Panther, the Swordsman, every single unit. So I think they perfectly blended. This is impressive, and you don't see this very often. Each ranged unit has their own unique range, and no range is the same as the other, except for the Elves, except for the Dark and Light Elves and Normal Elves. So excellent. That's something pretty unique. I was not expecting this when I began playing the game. So they all have different range. They all have every single ranged unit has a different range. So amazing, absolutely amazing how they blended everything, how they balanced everything. I mentioned the abilities for the units. The hero units, of course, I've mentioned these. They have abilities which affect the whole attached regiment. Artillery, air units, the fortresses. Well, you can hide your... yeah, I knew I was forgetting about something. The third thing, the third conclusion, pretty important, pretty important. When you are playing a defense mission and you are in a fortress and you are defending it, when I was doing that, I realized that this game has perfect pathfinding on top of the walls of a fortress. I know you must be thinking that's something stupid, Eraser. No, that's not something stupid. Believe me when I say that most real-time tactics and most real-time strategy games, especially back in 2008, nowadays even today, for example, Age of Empires 4 had some issues with that. The Total War series, the Total War games, also had problems with that back in the day. Now they polished it. As I've said, Age of Empires 4, even Age of Empires 4 today has some issues, and this game back in 2008, back in 2007, back in 2006, I believe, yes, back in 2006, because 2007 and 8 were the expansions, no, but the pathfinding system was created probably for the original release, of course. So 2006, back in 2006, creating a pathfinding system as perfect as this one regarding the pathfinding on top of the walls when you are defending or attacking a fortress was a challenge, an absolute challenge. And the fact that they were able to create probably the best pathfinding system on top of the walls, that I've seen, that's a feat. That's definitely a huge and important feat, which requires mastery and an insane amount of talent. Because pathfinding on top of the walls in this game is the best I've seen for games released in this bracket of years. Of course, nowadays the Total War series has polished that to a perfect degree of precision. But back in 2006, the pathfinding for this game, especially on top of the walls, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. There are some extra things, for example, some special units that I could mention. For example, the witch elves, those beautiful and gorgeous ladies who had some specific, how do I put it, some specific stats, or not stats, they were kind of like, yeah, they were stats because they were permanent. For example, the frenzy perk, let's say. They were continuously in a state of frenzy, and the unit becomes uncontrollable. They were pretty lethal. I think they were those ladies were the only sword. Yes, they were kind of like the sword master unit for the normal elves. We're talking about the dark elves. The dark elves had a unit which was the witch elves, as I've said, and they were permanently, constantly, perpetually under the frenzy state. So be careful, because some units, they even took the time, they paid a lot of attention to the details with this game. That's what I love about it, because I usually pay a lot of attention to the details a game has to offer, and in this game they've put a lot of attention to the details. The witch elves, the gorgeous and beautiful witch elves, those ladies, they were constantly under the frenzy state. So when they were close to the enemy, they became uncontrollable. You couldn't control them. They had an insane amount of attack speed. They had no armor. They were pretty fragile, but they had an insane amount of attack speed, and they became uncontrollable. And well, that's another tactical aspect you need to take into account. Some melee units become uncontrollable. And if, for example, I remember there was a mission, it was in the middle of a cave, and you had no room to retreat. And I brought my witch elves, and with those witch elves, I decimated the enemy melee units. They were Skaven, but they were blasted by artillery, and they kept fighting. They wouldn't obey my orders, so you need to take all of that into account. It's another tactical factor to take into account, and that's always impressive. That the developers took the time to also add a lot of subtle strategic factors that you wouldn't normally take into account. So a lot of variables influence the outcome of the battle. Not only if you are fighting, if you are using cover, not only your armor. It's absolutely mind-boggling. It's absolutely impressive. It blows my mind completely how many different systems they've assembled into a single game. A classic RPG system because of the chance to hit the armor and all of these stats and particular traits that units have. That's regarding the classic art. It has a classic RPG influence to it. So it has a classic RPG system, let's say. It has a real-time tactics system because you use cover and positioning on the battlefield is important. And it also has, well, it also has a pure, yeah, well, let's include this into the classic RPG system, because I would say pure RPG part to it because of the dual mechanics. So it has, let's say this, 3 systems. A classic RPG system blended with, because as I've said, you have to take into account armor, chance to hit, hero units. That's absolutely RPG, the classic hero system from Blizzard. As I've said, the frenzy state for some particular units, a lot of RPG mechanics, health, abilities, items, skill trees. So there are so many of them that it's difficult to think about all of them. That's all of the ones that I mentioned: skill trees, items, armor, health, hero units. It has a complete and pretty detailed classic RPG system with a real-time tactics system composed of cover, because according to the terrain you are fighting on, you could suffer penalties or be more effective. Also the terrain, for example, you could see that the line of sight of my cannons was being constantly blocked by hills and those things, so it also has a real-time tactics element to it. So there are even more, here. Positioning on the battlefield, as I've said, because your line of sight could be blocked by a hill or something for your cannons. You can be flanked on the rear or on the sides, and if you are flanked by cavalry, you will pretty much get decimated, just like in a classic Total War game, in a classic RTT game. So being flanked, positioning on the battlefield, line of sight, range for your units, especially for your ranged units, cover, terrain, a pretty complex. The game has managed to somehow encompass in a single gameplay system a pretty complete classic RPG combat system with a complex and complete real-time tactics system. It's difficult to explain, but this game is unique in so many ways. Especially the gameplay mechanics, that it's absolutely impressive, because I'm thinking about all of these things that I've been mentioning, and the classic RPG system, it's pretty complete, and the real-time tactics system is also complete, because in the real-time tactics system the game has, you have cover, line of sight, being flanked, fighting, being able to position your units inside of towers if you are defending a fortress, pathfinding on top of the walls, artillery, and on the other hand you have the classic RPG system, which involves the classic hero system from Blizzard, as I've said, armor, chance to hit. That's so characteristic of classic RPG games and not real-time tactics games. Chance to hit, that's the classic Infinity Engine games, Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, as I've said. It's classic Dungeons and Dragons. Chance to hit, or at least classic Dungeons and Dragons in video games. A chance to hit, as I've said, armor, the fact that the Skaven ignore armor, those states, for example, the frenzy state, attack speed, well, that one is somehow used in real-time strategy games. That one is a pretty particular case, but it's here. The morale system, it's part of the real-time tactics game, the stamina, and then for the classic RPG system, you also have the not only all of the ones that I mentioned, it also has the health points, skill trees. I mean, what's more classic RPG than a skill tree? You have the skill tree, you have the power pool. I forgot to talk about the power pool. See, this game has so many things to talk about that it's difficult to analyze. The power pool. In this game, there's no mana. There's no mana pool. You have a single bar on the top of your screen. You could see it. And there's no mana pool in this game. You use the power bar or the power pool, and it's shared across all of the hero units. And as I've said, all of the hero units have different skill trees that interact. The classic RPG system. This game is composed, as I've said, of these two systems. The classic RPG system and the real-time tactics system, but they perfectly interact with each other. It's a pretty unique case. It's a unique case in which there are this game could easily be a classic RPG game as well as a real-time tactics game. It's absolutely impressive, and both systems are perfectly balanced and blended in a perfect mix. It's impressive how they interact as well. How the skill tree, for example, from the classic RPG system will influence the duel mechanic from the real-time tactics system. How the chance to hit from the classic RPG system will influence the real-time tactics system because your units will be less effective, and so you have to invest on chance to hit. It's the insane amount of connections, how connected the different gameplay systems in this game are. It's impressive to analyze and to observe. That connection was the most impressive experience this game gave me. It's impressive, the connection between the classic RPG section of this game and the real-time tactics section. Not the section, the systems, the mechanics, the connection between those two systems. All of the connections, because it has a lot of connections. Impressive. I could spend the whole night just talking about the gameplay category of my analysis for this game. As I've said, the power pool, which is shared across all of the hero units, the items. I didn't even talk about the items. And well, I could get in depth about the unit variety, but there are 6 races, all of them with their particular unit variety. So sorry, but I could spend the whole night just talking about the gameplay category of the analysis for this game. But I don't want to. You have to experience the game on your own. But I don't have infinite time, as you must imagine. So just know that the strongest part of this game is the gameplay category. Is the gameplay category for the analysis of my analysis. It's the strongest part and the most impressive one, maybe coupled with the innovation, because a lot of the gameplay mechanics that I've been mentioning, they are also original and unique. But sorry that my English wasn't that good, because I'm absolutely overwhelmed by the insane amount of mechanics this game has to offer, and that's something that someone like me who has analyzed a lot of games it's absolutely, it doesn't happen to me often that a game has so especially a real-time tactics game, so many different gameplay mechanics, but from different genres. That's the thing. So many different classic RPG mechanics perfectly blended with so many real-time tactics mechanics, all perfectly blended. All right, so I'll stop mentioning this because I'm repeating myself, but you can get the point. Because of my, you can see the hype and emotion I have when I find such an interesting case as this one. All right, let's get to the second part of the analysis, the technical part of it. Well, the game is limited to 60 FPS. That's the limit of the engine. As you know, I usually play games with uncapped frame rates at 141, but in this game it's locked at 60 FPS, something pretty usual, something we usually expect from games released back in 2006, 2007, 2008. But well, 60 FPS cap, but the resolution is uncapped. I could play the game at 1440p. I'm streaming it at 1080p, so the resolution is uncapped. During battles, when there are a lot of models on screen, the frame rate will go down to 20 to 30. It's absolutely normal, but you won't feel it that much, if you ask me. You can perfectly you can play, well, not perfectly fine. I don't want to say perfectly fine because perfection would be to be able to play at 141 FPS, and I don't know, in general in these games you never play at 141 regardless of your GPU, because when there are a lot of models on screen, it will inevitably fall to, I don't know, 90, 80, according to your GPU, of course. Or you lock it at 60, but it remains at 60 FPS. But well, no. In this case, the frame rate will go down to 20, 30, regardless of your GPU. Imagine I have a 3080. I played this with a 3080, and it's a game from 2006, and when there were a lot of models on screen, it dropped to 30, and for example in Empire Total War I could play at 141 FPS without any kind of issues all of the time. It had some dips, but they were as I've said, to 100, and they were pretty short, if you know what I mean. Just a specific moment when they were all killing each other, and then in this game you experience some frame rate drops, but it doesn't affect, it won't prevent you from playing as good as you usually play, right? It's something difficult to explain, but it must, I assume, it must have to do with some configuration of the game engine that they managed to, with the technical limitations of 2006, they probably knew that when there were a lot of units on screen, it would drop the frame rate even more with those old GPUs from 2006. But they managed to somehow prevent that frame rate drop from affecting not your experience, because your experience is affected if a single frame drops, but they managed to prevent it from affecting your skills, how good you can play the game, how good you can be at the game. You won't be better at the game if you have 141 FPS. That's the thing. In this case, I know the same could be said for all games. But in this case, it won't ruin your how good you are at the game. It won't affect how good you are at the game in this case. I know the same could be said for a lot of other games, but in this case, it doesn't cripple the gameplay. It doesn't cripple the gameplay mechanics. That's pretty much it. As for the special effects, that's pretty much the most important conclusion. There are frame rate drops, frame rate cap at 60. There are frame rate drops, more than one would like, but considering it was released back in 2006 and the fact that it doesn't cripple the gameplay, it won't prevent you from winning a battle. It won't prevent you from winning a battle, and it won't be a case of dropping to, I don't know, 5 FPS or 10 FPS. No, you will be able to play it, and it's just some specific moments. As for the rest, the special effects are amazing. The game has a lot of pretty detailed special effects. I won't go over every single one of them, but basically the cannons, the magic, everything. Ooh, the game also has magic resistance. I forgot about that stat. Which is part of the classic RPG system I've been mentioning. So, as I've said, I could spend the whole night talking about the gameplay category. It has magic resistance as well for some of the units, and that affects how much damage you suffer from spells, which are usually casted by hero units. And some units have magic damage, and there's also that's the thing. The game has a lot of things. It's absolutely impressive. A lot of things to analyze. Magic resistance, as I've said. But well, going back to the special effects, they are absolutely amazing. Incredible what they've done. And there's one more thing. For example, when the Skaven units, some of them explode and damage units nearby, and it's absolutely impressive. The poison attacks, it also has poison attacks, the game. It has so many things that it's difficult. But well, the technical aspect of it, as I've said, 60 FPS lock, good graphics for 2006. The grass has physics, but they're pretty subtle, next to non-existent. The grass has physics applied to it. You can see the wind affecting the grass as well as the trees, but it's not. Maybe you won't perceive it unless you zoom in a lot. One thing. Now let's get to the main point of the technical aspect for the analysis. Let's get to the main point and the thing that impressed me the most. In this game, every single scenario for the campaign has a different sky. They handcrafted every single sky for every single mission of the 3 campaigns. Every single one of them has a different sky, and they weren't procedurally generated. No, not at all. They were handcrafted. And the terrain, this is something I constantly mentioned during the first and the second campaigns. but especially during the first campaign, the terrain, it's something so unique what they've done. First, the sky. The sky is different for every single mission of the campaign. If you hold Alt and you look at the sky, you'll be able to see it. Something that they implemented in Armies of Exigo as well, if I'm not mistaken. So except for cave levels, which of course they have no sky, every single mission for every single campaign, they all have different skies, handcrafted. An insane amount of work, impressive. But the terrain, it's incredible. Please, when you play this game, pay attention to the terrain. Zoom in, rotate the camera, do some panning movements, and you will realize that they didn't do what developers usually do. Usually they it's difficult to explain as well. Usually they simply add the textures for the terrain, but you can perfectly tell which texture they used for every section of the terrain. Usually, in most real-time strategy and most real-time tactics games. In Warhammer Mark of Chaos, they blended the textures for the different surfaces. It's difficult to explain if you don't see it, because we are usually not used to this, because we are usually used to seeing, well, for example, we have snow right here. Imagine the classic RTS camera for I don't know, Warcraft 3 or Age of Empires or StarCraft. Here we have the texture for the grass. There we have grass, and then here we have a road in the middle, and then here we have more grass, and here we have sand, and here we have snow, and here we have the different textures, all perfectly separated. You can tell the difference. They don't have a blurred line, if you know what I mean. It's difficult to imagine if you haven't played the game or you haven't seen the gameplays. But imagine Warcraft 3, as I've said, or StarCraft 2, or Age of Empires. You can perfectly tell which texture they applied to each surface. In this game, no. The terrain is amazing. It's amazing because you can tell where the road ends. For example, the texture for the road ends, but you won't have grass. You will have kind of like dirt, right? Dirt between the grass. Then you can see the texture that they've used, the texture for the grass. But between the texture, the grass texture, and the road texture, you will see dirt. But that dirt is not that they simply added, well, something in the middle. No. No. It gradually fades when getting close to the grass and when getting close to the road. And it's absolutely different, because when it's gradually fading towards the grass texture, the dirt texture gradually fades towards when approaching the grass texture. But it's a completely different color when it's going to the other way. I know it's difficult to explain. It's difficult to explain. But they blended an insane number of different textures, fading when gradually fading, when reaching that blurred line of terrain. I know it's difficult to explain, and that I'm not doing the best description, but I explain it during the gameplay. So think about it like this: the line between the road and the grass, it's so blurred that you won't even realize it's there. You won't even realize it's there. You won't even realize the transition from the road texture to the grass texture, because there will be a lot of gradually fading dirt colors, if you know what I mean. There will be, and the same for example, the sea. You can tell this pretty vividly. If you look at the sea, it's a pretty vivid effect. You can see how the beach and the dirt and the sand in this case and the dirt, it all gradually fades until transitioning to the ocean animation in this case, and or the road textures. It's absolutely impressive. Pay attention to the terrain and you'll see what I'm talking about. I know it's difficult to imagine if you haven't been watching the gameplay, if you haven't watched the VODs, but basically it's that the transition between textures on the ground, it's absolutely organic, natural. You don't even realize it's there. You cannot tell what texture, where's the perfect line between the grass and the road. You cannot tell where exactly they applied a different texture, because they, on top of that, in that imaginary line, they added a lot of different gradually fading textures. It's difficult. I know it's difficult to explain, but if you play the game or if you watch my VODs, you'll realize it. You'll be able to spot it like this immediately if you watch my VODs or play the game. Look at the ground, look at the textures, and see how they perfectly blend in a totally natural and organic way. That's something that's something I've never seen in any RTS, let alone from 2006. In this case, it's a real-time tactics game, but it's the same in this case because we're talking about textures and ground. Not a single real-time strategy or real-time tactics game has this perfect blend of mixed textures for the terrain being so naturally and organically presented to us. Sorry, not even Armies of Exego from the same studio, no. This game has a unique terrain texture technique. It's absolutely unique. So, perfect, absolutely perfect. I know I'm behaving in a pretty weird way during this analysis when compared to my previous analysis of all of the previous games, because this one has some striking and unique features to it that I've never seen, and I wasn't expecting it. So, let's get to the third category, the level design, because otherwise we'll never finish. This will be an endless. I hope that at least you are enjoying it as much as I am. The level design. This game has the most objective variety that I've seen in any real-time tactics game. The insane amount of objective variety this game has to offer is the best that I've seen. Think about the Total War series, think about Total War games. What do you usually do? What do you usually do in a campaign in a Total War game? Simply conquest the whole map. Sometimes you defend your fortresses because you're attacked. Sometimes you have to capture a fortress under a certain amount of time. Well, in this case you have the countdown. I think that, yeah, in Total War games you have to, there's no countdown, but yes, you have to take, yes, I remember. You have to kind of like kill all of the units or capture the... If you capture the kind of like the center of the fortress for some time, you win. But I don't think it's time. No, it's not time, if I remember correctly. At least not most of them. Well, insane amount of objective variety. You have duels, defense missions, escort missions, sieges. You have to perform a siege, for example, in which you have to bring artillery, defend fortresses. In some missions, they are so unique that you have to perform pretty specific tasks, such as only fighting with your hero unit and looting tombs, or I don't know, in the Chaos campaign you have to it's pretty unique. You have to decide your god and those, and it's absolutely impressive. Decide which god you will follow to war and those things. In that sense, this game is pretty similar to Armies of Exego. Armies of Exego also had an insane amount of objective variety, handcrafted, absolutely artisanal, in an absolutely artisanal process. In that sense, I can see the heritage of Armies of Exego, the DNA from Armies of Exego in this game, definitely, without a shadow of doubt, in the level design, because it has the same insane objective variety that Armies of Exego had. So yeah, I can see the heritage, the studio's signature, and I always in this game, I always love that, seeing how a studio translated its real-time strategy experience to the real-time tactics genre. Alright, as for the level design, it's perfectly executed as well, because I remember in some Skaven missions they specifically create some hills to block your line of sight, for example, just so you learn about it. The game does a pretty excellent job. The game does a pretty excellent job teaching you the weaknesses and strengths of each race. Because, as I've said, when I was playing with the Skaven, I spotted that the terrain was always an absolute mess, at least most of the time, and my line of sight was being constantly blocked. It was being constantly blocked. So I had to develop new strategies, and those strategies forced me to learn about the weaknesses of this Skaven in this case. So I love how the game in a pretty subtle way forces you to learn the weaknesses of your of all of the civilizations and the different gameplay mechanics. It's naturally forced on you. It perfectly forces you to learn in a pretty organic and natural way. That's something only masters of the genre can achieve, in this case of the real-time tactics genre. But they also developed Armies of Exego, Black Hole Entertainment, the Hungarian studio, so they were also masters of the real-time strategy genre. Alright, so the level design, then we have the campaign map, the world map, in which you can do some optional missions. You will be granted gold after the battles, you have to spend it. You have the barracks, the temple to replenish your units. You can give extra bonuses to your units, extra morale bonuses to your units, or extra chance to hit with the blessings that I've never used, sorry. You can purchase consumables, you can get new units, of course, you can replenish your units. This is something, sorry to the developers if I'm not covering everything that I'm trying to, but it's way too much to Black Hole Entertainment, but it's way too much. Every single description, every single description for each camp of the campaign, for each encampment in which you simply stop by and replenish your units and get new arm and improve your armor, and also the morale. You can also improve the morale. There are so many things. The War Banner, for example, which grants morale boost, regeneration, a morale boost regeneration to your army. It's extremely useful for Skaven. The level design also influences the gameplay indirectly, because the War Banner, which provides a morale boost, can completely make your Skaven army invincible, because the morale is the only weakness they have, and well, some weak melee units. But if the melee units don't flee, then the insanely powerful ranged units of the Skaven will completely decimate the enemy. The same for the orcs. If you increase their armor, since they are since they have the best melee units, if on top of that you increase their armor and you increase their chance to hit, they become an absolute killing machine. So the level design also influences the gameplay. It's absolutely impressive. It will determine how many troops you will have, your strategy regarding which army to use, because in all of the campaigns you manage more than one army, and if you spend all money before changing control to the other army, you will make one army invincible, or at least you'll have a surplus of troops, you'll have a lot of troops, but then you share that goal with your second army, and that army now has to move, and it doesn't have any troops because you spent all of your money on the other army. It happened to me a lot of times, and it also adds yet another layer of strategic depth to the gameplay. So the level design influences those two gameplay systems that I've said, the classic RPG system and the classic real-time tactics system, which in turn also interact between each other. So they interact with each other, and the level design influences both of those. So the level design, it's the first layer, right, of strategic depth. Then it influences both of the other two layers of strategic depth. Sorry. The classic RPG and the real-time tactics layers. And in turn, those two layers, which add a lot of strategic depth, as I've said, are totally intertwined. They are connected intrinsically, perfectly blended. So it's a perfect and humongous, giant system of different layers of different, which add strategic depth, and that's proof of the talent this studio had, Black Hole Entertainment, because combining so many layers of strategic depth in a single game, it's insane. This game has more layers than Total War, not the modern Total War titles, but more than the classic Total War titles. I mean, Rome 1, Medieval 2, I don't know, Shogun 1, I don't know. And I think it even has more, I personally think that it has more strategic layers, as I've said. Let's call them strategic layers. Layers which add a lot of strategic depth to the gameplay. This game has more than it. I think it has more than any Total War games, because the insane amount of factors you have to take into account: magic resistance, armor, chance to hit, cover, morale, stamina. Those are in total, because the Total War series has pure real-time tactics layers of strategic depth. This one adds the classic RPG, and the level design influences them more than any other Total War game I've seen. As I've said, the fact that it blocks the range for your cannons, but the range for your cannons in turn, this is the thing, will be different according to the race, according to the civilization. Yeah, right. But also you have to take into account the magic resistance. I don't think Empire Total War has magic resistance because it has no fantasy, for example, or Napoleon. Insane. Absolutely insane. Insane. The only thing is that this game has no naval warfare. I think it's the only difference with Total War. That would be the only positive thing, the only advantage Total War would have against over it. Regarding the total amount of strategic layers that I've been mentioning. But well, the level design, as I've said, it influences the other two layers, and the other two layers perfectly interact with each other. Alright, imagine it like that. And also the terrain, regarding the technical aspect, and the sky, perfectly. Everything is perfectly executed with such a degree of attention to detail that I've never seen before in a real-time tactics game. I've never seen it before in a real-time tactics game, and I played most of the Total War games, as I've said, the Ultimate General American Civil War and King Arthur 2. Okay. So this game has so many elements to analyze that it's difficult to analyze. Regarding the grandeur, the impact of the story, soundtrack, and ambience on the player, the game has a lot of epic songs, but for the most part, I think that, yeah, while you are fighting, I think could it be that there are no songs while you are fighting? Yeah, I think so. I think there are no songs, contrary to Empire Total War and Rome Total War, to the Total War series, which they all have pretty epic songs. Regarding that, the epic soundtrack, the Total War series is better, I would say. This one has some ambience soundtrack, but it's not as memorable as some of the Total War songs. That's for sure. I would say that the game has only two weak spots, but they are so tiny that they don't represent any flaw at all that I'm gonna mention. One is that one. The soundtrack could have been more epic. Especially during battles. Remember that I increased the music. Oh, I forgot about it. I increased the music at 100%, and then the ambience sounds to 90 or 80 to listen to it clearly. But in this case, I didn't listen to any inspiring and epic songs. There were some, but I don't think they were epic enough for the rest of the... Considering how perfect the rest of the game is, that's the idea. As for the storylines, as I mentioned, this will get me to the Orc campaign, to the Orcs and Goblins campaign. The Empire campaign has a classic story, a Mary Sue story, but the Mark of Chaos storyline is pretty detailed. The game has a lot of lore about the Warhammer lore. Any Warhammer fan must play this game instantly. It has a lot of lore. As I've said, every single encampment has a unique description. It has a unique... it has a unique description to it. According to the Warhammer lore, the game tells you something most games don't, which is how the cultures in the classic Warhammer fantasy universe work. For example, that the Skaven live underground, and how the Chaos Hordes choose their champion, and the Orcs and the Dark Elves, and that they hate the normal elves and everything. But well, if the game has 3 campaigns with 2 factions per campaign, and each faction has its own storyline, so it's actually 6 storylines with a lot of chapters, and it's impressive. But if I had to highlight one thing, it would be the Orcs and Goblins campaign. It was my favorite. Why? Because generally in real-time strategy, I've been mentioning this, generally when in real-time tactics and real-time strategy games, when we get to the storyline for low intellect creatures such as the Orcs, or for example the Chaos Warriors, when we get to those campaigns, you usually get this feeling, and it's actually a pretty accurate feeling, that campaigns in which the protagonist is a low intellect creature or a low intellect race altogether, their storylines are pretty simplistic, dull, and you pretty much can deduce everything because they are as simple as the protagonist. That's the thing. Except for Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3, forget about it. And of course, StarCraft. That's something Blizzard managed to perfectly execute across the years. Sorry, throughout the years as well. No, across the years is okay. But the rest of the games, except for Blizzard games, most real-time strategy and most real-time tactics games, fantasy real-time tactics and fantasy real-time strategy games, usually the Orc campaign is destroy everything, or the Chaos campaign is destroy everything, because you are controlling low intellect creatures. And this is something not unique because Blizzard did this before with Warcraft 3, as well as StarCraft with the Zerg. Think about campaigns in which the protagonist was a low intellect creature. Well, in the case of the Zerg, Kerrigan isn't a low intellect creature, but the Zerg are, because they are simply a swarm, obeying or the hive or the mastermind, the overmind at those things. So you get the point. Generally, the storyline for the plot in real-time strategy and real-time tactics games is pretty simplistic when you get to the bad or evil, or in this case Chaos campaign, because you are controlling the Orcs and they are low intellect creatures. This game manages to replicate the perfect formula of Warcraft 3, which is, well, you will be controlling low intellect creatures, just like the Orcs. You will be controlling the Orcs. They are low intellect creatures. Your hero unit is a low intellect creature, but the plot won't be a low intellect plot. It won't be a simplistic plot, even though the protagonist is a low intellect creature, such as Gorbash in this case. The relationship between Gorbash and Wosog is one of the best ideas I've seen regarding storylines of real-time tactics games and real-time strategy games in general. I know this is not the most important part of a game, but I found it pretty unique that this game managed to replicate the talented, the successful formula of Warcraft 3. In Warcraft 3 you have Thrall with his brother and the fight against Manoroth. I don't want to do spoilers here, but you know how intense that relationship is and how perfectly showcased during the campaign it is. It's absolutely impressive. That makes Warcraft 3 pretty much the RTS with the best storyline ever, so much that it spawned World of Warcraft and all of the expansions we see right now, and a whole other genre, which is Defense of the Ancients, and it also popularized the tower defense genre. That the influence of Warcraft 3, I think it's much bigger than that of StarCraft, but well. But let's get back to Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch. They managed to pull it off. A campaign in which the protagonist is a low intellect creature commanding a low intellect race altogether, but the plot isn't simplistic. The plot is pretty complex, interesting. The game also does a perfect job at showcasing the culture, the unique culture of each race. That's another positive aspect to all of the campaigns this game has. All of the cultures are represented with their unique traits, their unique fantasy traits, rules, and everything. For example, you can see the ascent of a Chaos champion, the Inquisition of the Empire, and Stefan, and for me the best one is the independence of Gorbash and Wosog, and the relationship with the Dark Elves. For me, the Orcs campaign is definitely above the other two. Then I would say the Chaos campaign, and last but not least the Empire campaign, but yeah, it was the weakest one out of all of them. Because I remember the at the end of that campaign, in the end of that campaign, the Count who was accusing Stefan, then it turned into a Demon Prince and played this very same final level. And he attacked us during this very same final level that we played 3 weeks ago or something like that, in which we defended this very same fortress against the Count, who was a different demon. Alright. So, the grandeur category, as I've said, only the soundtrack could have been better. The soundtrack could have been better, especially during intense moments of battles. I remember, for example, you can Google Roma Invicta from Rome Total War 2, and you'll find that that's pretty epic. In Napoleon Total War, I remember all of the battle soundtracks were amazing. The soundtrack for Napoleon Total War is amazing, and I think that was what was lacking here. The kind of like the final element, but the game is perfect regarding its gameplay mechanics, so much that its flaws are completely overshadowed by the gameplay, by that insane mix of the gameplay system. Well, I could speak all day about the grandeur category of the analysis because of all of the stories, but we have to finish this analysis. Let's wrap it up with the final category, the innovation category. As I've said, the impact of the ambience is perfectly executed, the perfect Warhammer lore, the camp. As I've said, the descriptions are unique to every single camp of the campaign map, so it's impressive. The lore, because of the ambience, the grandeur is absolutely perfect. As I've said, the soundtrack could have been better, but especially during battles, but it's absolutely negligible. It's an absolutely negligible flaw when compared to the rest. Innovation. As I've said, the perfect system of how the level design, the perfect system in which you have the classic RPG. Yeah, there are a lot of systems combined all together. How the perfect classic RPG mechanics combined with the perfect real-time tactics mechanic, they both make a perfect system. Let's say those two mechanics, the real-time tactics and the classic RPG tactics, they perfectly blend together to create a perfect system, which is also influenced by the level design applied to the game to both of those systems to the real-time tactics that, as I've explained in detail, I won't repeat myself, but as I've said, the fact that the cannons, that when you play with the Skaven you have the best artillery with the best line of sight, but then because of the terrain it's completely blocked, and that influences the real-time tactics aspect of the game. How the objective variety, the level design influences the real-time tactics system and the classic RPG system. For example, forcing you to do a duel, which is part of the, as I've said, of the real-time tactics mechanic, but also that duel has the stats of the classic RPG system: the health, the magic resistance, the armor, the chance to hit, the abilities, the skill tree, everything, the power pool. It's impressive. The blend, the perfect blend, as a conclusion, and regarding the innovation category, the perfect blend of all of those unique elements in a single game makes Warhammer Mark of Chaos a unique experience with a lot of original ideas that you won't find anywhere else. That's the thing. You won't find the gameplay, not the gameplay only, the experience of playing this game. You won't find it anywhere else. Not in a Total War game, not in any other real-time tactics game. When I began playing this game, I said this was Total War Warhammer 0.5. I could have been more wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. I was absolutely wrong. This game isn't Warhammer Total War 0.5. It's a unique system which you won't find anywhere else. It's absolutely amazing how they mixed all of these systems and elements all together, and it's a unique experience, not only if you're a Warhammer fan, but also if you're a real-time tactics fan. And as I've said, the only two flaws that I've encountered, only two flaws, and they are so negligible that they won't affect the final qualification. They won't, because they are so negligible that you won't that the experience will be so amazing that you won't think that they will affect it so much. Only the first one that I'm going to tell you, that one maybe could be a problem. But well, let's begin. We have a secondary and a primary flaw. The secondary flaw, which is not important, which is the fact that the soundtrack could have been more epic during those intense battles. It's the single flaw I could encounter to this game. The only one. A more epic and more present soundtrack. Yes, more ubiquitous. The soundtrack should have been constantly played during battles and during the world map, and more presence of the soundtrack, right? So they could, I don't know, constantly, I don't know how to say it. They should have ensured that you could remember the soundtrack, constantly repeating the soundtrack. That's the idea of a great game. Constantly repeating those epic tunes, those epic melodies, that epic ambience soundtrack to you. For example, I remember Roma Invicta from Total War Rome 2, and all of the battle soundtracks from Napoleon Total War, for example. Alright, so that's one thing. The lack of consistent soundtrack during intense battles. The lack of consistent soundtrack during intense battles. They should have made an epic soundtrack and constantly repeating it during the battles. That's one flaw, but it's a an absolutely marginal flaw. It's absolutely secondary. It's not a vital at all. It's not important in this context. The other one, which is the main, I think the biggest flaw the game has, and the only one that I would say could somehow affect your experience, is the lack of difficulty. Even on hard mode, I don't want to say the game is easy, but even so, the game is not easy. So it's a moderate flaw, I would say. If you're an experienced real-time tactics player, if you played a lot of Total War games, if you played a lot of the Ultimate General American Civil War, I don't know, a lot of real-time strategy games, a lot of real-time tactics games, this game will feel a bit easy, a tad easy, a bit easy. I would have made the game harder, much harder than this, because when a game is hard, it definitely impresses the player on a totally different level. It leaves a mark on you with your suffering and with your thirst for improving yourself and your technique. So yes, I would definitely say that the lack of an extremely difficult the lack of, let's say, an insane difficulty mode, I would have added a fourth mode with something like insane difficulty instead of hard. For those of us who love suffering, who are masochists regarding these games, I love a challenge, and the game, for example, Armies of Exego had some insanely difficult sections, so I know that the studio had the talent, but for some reason they toned down the difficulty a bit for this game. Even so, there are some sections, some traps, let's say, because some missions are traps. For example, you are in a cave and you have no room to maneuver your troops. I remember during the Dark Elves campaign, and you get attacked by artillery and you lose most of your army, and there were some tough spots. I had to reset sometimes, but it's nothing uncontrollable. So if you are new to real-time tactics games, I highly suggest you try this one, because you won't find any other like this one. It's pretty complete with the expansion, and it has a lot of different gameplay mechanics. So, and it has the incredible Warhammer lore. And it's not insanely hard. For example, Rome 2 Total War on Legendary difficult, well, yeah, that's much harder. Or Empire Total War, or Medieval, a grand campaign with a limited amount of turns, well, pretty difficult on Legendary difficulty, all of those. And you have the autosave feature, so you cannot use a lot of slots. Alright, so I would say the difficulty is the weakest spot I could find for this game, but it's absolutely negligible, just like the lack of consistent soundtrack during battles. So absolutely negligible. If I had, so let's get to the qualification. If I had to award a qualification with numbers from 1 to 10, I would say 9.7, 9.8, pretty close to perfection. It's absolute perfection. But since I use letters from S to F, I will award it the S. This game, it's real-time tactics personified. It's the real-time tactics genre personified, but not only that, it inherits the classic RPG system, a classic RPG system from years upon years. I can see a lot of classic RPG mechanics that I've been mentioning, and all of those things with the real-time tactics system that I've mentioned, and all of those things make Warhammer Mark of Chaos a pretty unique experience, pretty much the embodiment of real-time tactics. This game is the embodiment of real-time tactics. It's at its absolute finest. So it's a perfect S, a perfect qualification from me. So kudos to Black Hole Entertainment. I always love giving credit to the developers who deserve it, even though it's been a lot of years, but I always love giving credits to them. Kudos to Black Hole Entertainment for creating Armies of Exigo, as well as Warhammer Mark of Chaos. And I really hope, I wish you were among us still. I don't know if a lot of you are still working on the industry. I assume so. So great. I hope you are still in this industry, because you have a lot to offer, and I at least, and all of my channel, will always be thankful to you for creating Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch for the RTT genre, for the real-time tactics genre, and Armies of Exigo for the real-time strategy genre. This final analysis is also kind of like the closure, the final journey for my analysis of Black Hole Entertainment games, Armies of Exigo and Warhammer Mark of Chaos. Both of them incredible games. Just as I've been mentioning, just as I mentioned other studios, for example Liquid Entertainment, and for example, I remember I also mentioned the developer of Loria, who single-handedly finished that game. A lot of other studios that were definitely masters of the genre. GSC Game World with the Cossacks series, of so many. Joe Wood, well, Command and Conquer, everything, Rise of Nations. I cannot remember so many studios, damn. But well, Petroglyph, of course, with Grey Goo, that I analyzed Grey Goo, Universe at War, and well, I played a lot of Empire at War, but well, the copyright would be a disaster. But well, here on Twitch, but well, with the Star Wars music. But well, a perfect qualification, a perfect S, 9.7, 9.8, 9.8, an absolute S, perfect qualification for Warhammer Mark of Chaos. It was a pleasure playing this game. Kudos to Black Hole Entertainment, masters of the genre, just like Petroglyph, just like Liquid Entertainment, just like a lot of real-time strategy studios that I miss so much. But well, the future has a lot in store for us now that we have, for example, Uncapped Games and Frost Giant Games. I hope they revealed recently their new game. We have Dune Spice Wars, so I am pretty happy that I'm seeing that the real-time strategy genre as a whole is being remembered. But well, in this channel we will always remember them in a pretty particular way with my analysis. I hope you all enjoyed my analysis, ladies and gentlemen. It was a pleasure analyzing this game, all of the aspects. Sorry if I spent way too much time regarding with the gameplay category, but it was pretty important. A lot of aspects. This game was extremely complete. It was filled with a lot of insane mechanics, incredible mechanics that I had to analyze, and it was an absolute pleasure analyzing this game. Age of Empires 4, the analysis for Age of Empires 4, and especially this one, I think they are the most complete ones I've made, because of how complete the gameplay mechanics were. So also, congratulations to Relic Entertainment, to Relic for releasing Age of Empires 4 that I also loved. So I highly suggest you check out my analysis for that one, because it was pretty interesting. It was a pretty interesting case regarding the gameplay systems that they implemented. But well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure this was the final analysis for Warhammer Mark of Chaos Battlemarch. A perfect qualification, an S from me, and you could see that I was nitpicking, and I'm a pretty detailed, and I love to individual, and I love analyzing all of these games in depth. Sorry again if my English wasn't perfect due to the fact that I was analyzing a lot of things at the same time, but don't worry, I usually speak in a perfect way. But when I get hyped and when I get a lot of emotions and analysis and all of those things, sometimes my mind becomes absolutely distracted by all of the elements that I have to analyze in a pretty short amount of time. Consider that I spent a whole month playing this game, and I only had 2 hours and a half to analyze it, to condense a month of gameplay. Consider that. But well, I hope you could understand all of my points, all of my perfectly in-depth analysis. So I'm pretty proud of my analysis, as you can see. So it's been my pleasure, and see you all next time. I'll get to choose the next underrated gem. The journey is not over. It's never over, the journey, till it's over. But it will never be over, because I'll continue streaming, and I will continue showcasing all of these forgotten gems, which certainly deserved much more praise, and they shouldn't be forgotten by newer generations of players, because they have a lot to offer, as we could see tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure. I will stream again once I pick the next underrated gem. See you all next time. Be sure to stay tuned, because I have a lot of ideas and a lot of underrated gems that you will want to play, that you'll definitely want to play and add to your life.